Mic check. Good morning. Happy Friday, everybody. The friendliest Friday in all the land. We made it through one more week. Wherever you are, however you may be listening, thanks for making us part of your day. It's a beautiful, sunny day in Mesa, Arizona. And sorry for everybody who lives where there's snow. Get fucked, I guess. I don't know what to tell you. That sucks. Sorry about that. Sorry for the late start. There is still noise going on. There's some construction. I don't know what the hell they were doing. It sounds like they're packing up now, but if it suddenly sounds like an earthquake is happening, it's just what's going on above me. So there you go. Sorry about your snow. I shouldn't have done that. That was actually really rude of me to bring up the fact that you all live in places with snow. What's up, Jen?
I don't live in a place with snow.
Yeah, but you wish you did.
No, not really. I like I said, I'm more of a rain person.
That's every time you say shit like that, that's such a crazy thing to say.
I love the rain.
Yeah.
It legit makes me happy.
All right, yeah. What do you like to do when it rains?
Hang out, just relax. It's just very calming.
All right,
for me. So
fair enough. I don't get it.
I mean, the sun is just when it's super hot and it feels like you're just living in Satan's asshole. That's not fun.
That's true. There's not a lot of bragging that will be happening in about February. Come late April, early May, I won't be bragging too much anymore. So I'll get it out while I can.
Yeah, I mean, it's way too hot. The heat and I don't get along. So.
Do you? You do have very, very fair skin. Do you get sunburned pretty easily?
Yeah, I burn very easily.
Sorry about that.
I think the first game that Swan had last season, because she cheers, I got completely fried.
Just so angry out in the sun. This fucking sunlight.
Just doesn't feel good. So I know you were out in the wild last night.
For a minute, yeah. I was just scrolling, and I don't know who that guy was. That guy.
You don't know him?
I don't think I've ever come across him. Have I?
You may have, but he's obnoxious. So
that was just the epitome of never has read anything ever at all, but has the strongest opinions.
But he was a Bernie bro.
Yeah. Yeah. Emma tried to give me shit about that today because I was talking about I might go live tonight with him, and he's like, you got to let people answer. I was like, I'm not going to sit around all night.
I mean, you do. I mean, we've talked about this before. Sometimes you can, dominate some conversations. That's a thing you do.
Yeah,
sure.
But he had already done a 30-minute monologue. And I asked him what Bernie's education policy was, and he kept saying, "Let me tell you about Norway." I had no patience for that. So,
yeah, no, he I think there was a time where he was on a panel I was on, and he kept saying, "Repeal the 19th." Like he thought he was original with that. This is why we should repeal the 19th.
That's the thing. I'm gonna guess. Is he in the Millie crew?
I think I saw something in the comments after he ran that I don't know. I mean,
because that crew all has the same strategy, and their strategy is to just find something that the person they're talking, some fact that the person they're talking to doesn't know, and then derail the entire conversation and harp on the fact that they didn't know some obscure fact that's largely irrelevant. I saw actually. I hadn't seen it yet, but I saw a debate where Fax and Millie were debating, and it's exactly what she did. They were talking about the extrajudicial killings of the boats in international waters, and at one point, Fax she said she trusted Mike Johnson because the the Wartime Powers Act required them to brief Mike Johnson. And Fax was like, it's the Gang of Eight. And then she's like, you look, in the Wartime Powers Act, it does say you have to brief Mike Johnson. And then they just never got back on topic. It was like, you didn't know this fact. So
yeah, they're fantastic that way. Sean sent a Venmo saying, "Get the day started with the Dollar Train," which is a great reminder that we are crowdfunded. So we have our gift goal that you can see right there. We're still banned on TikTok, so Twitch, YouTube, it's just us. We got a little, I guess, a threesome, you could say, just with Twitch and YouTube.
that's not a threesome.
So, well, if we're gonna count the show, Twitch and YouTube, that's 3.
Oh, so like the actual what I'm doing here on this end counts as one, and then okay, gotcha. All right.
And Twitch and YouTube, so that's
normally
3.
It's an orgy, but today it's a threesome. Okay, that's fine with me.
Yeah.
All
so
right.
I mean, there's that, and then another Venmo. Jeff said, "Here's to cuddling. What? Here's to cuddling up with a gorgeous Jen on a beautiful, happy, rainy day." I really shouldn't. I should have let you just read that one. I shouldn't write that one out loud. You're laughing way too hard at that. Thanks.
I'm just imagining you like cringing, like your body convulsing right now at the thought of cuddling with somebody.
There's a meme for that I'll have to send in our chat. Where it's like where people try to come in for a hug and you push someone away.
Yeah,
that one. That's what I'm feeling right now. So
just repulsed. I love that. Well, W Jeff, that's incredible.
Yeah, so that's fun. Thanks, Jeff. So if you haven't, like I said, we got the gift goal that we try to hit by the end of the show. So Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, Super Chats, all go towards knocking that out. So that'd be fantastic. We do prefer the Venmo and Cash Apps because they tax us less if you have an option or a choice. If you haven't subscribed to us already, please do so. If you haven't used an Amazon Prime sub for Twitch, you can do so and use Bezos' money. You don't have to pay for membership. YouTube, we've got a couple of different membership options. And if you can't swing the financial for membership, that's okay. If you can just subscribe on YouTube, that's free. I see we've got some people that might be opposition in the YouTube chat. If you guys disagree with Jay, you can come up and talk to him. And how you do that is the Venmo username is my Discord. So Jen with 2 N's, Deb with 2 B's, the number 1. Send me a DM and I can bring you on to talk to Jay. You can check out the link tree in the bio. We're on most social media platforms. We've got merch. Jay's on Cameo. We upload these episodes to Spotify. Someone had asked about, I don't remember who it was off the top of my head, the healthcare hoodie, putting it in different colors. So look.
We could do that. Yeah, the idea was to make it look like the Freedom one. But yeah, we could. I think we can change that pretty easily.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we should be able to do that.
All right, we'll do that.
So there's that. There's a couple. You can read the super chats if you want. But there's a couple of those, and then what do you call a squid flavored dessert?
Squid flavored dessert?
Mm-hmm.
Shit. I feel like this one should be an easy one. It's got to be something with calamari. I don't know.
An octopi.
No, absolutely not. Okay. Austin Sophia, thank you. It's a very generous contribution. Said, I heard on the news that it was colder in Florida than Iceland. I don't have any snow, and it's February, and we've had almost snowless winter and wearing jean jacket in winter. Something new, huh? Climate change. Yeah. Jesus. Yeah, it's been cold in Florida, I understand. Illusion said, eat shit from Minnesota. Cold keeps bad peeps out. Prince. Curious Red Oslo said, here's to cuddling up with RTP on a super sweaty Arizona April day. That would be gross. Brittany said, bi-weekly tithing. Thank you, Brittany. And if you are a former Mormon like myself, put your shoulder to the wheel. All right, let's get started. How are people already pissed off in the chat? I haven't said a word. We already got MAGA here. You guys just wake up mad, don't you? It's not gonna get better. But if you don't want to be in your feelings, I welcome any of you to come up and talk with me during this live. You can do so by messaging JenDub1 on Discord, and she'll bring you right up. So let's get started with the Super Bowl halftime show that we have planned. Turning Point USA, that good Christian organization, their headliner. We showed some lyrics from Kid Rock yesterday about how he prefers his girls underage. Now another quote unearthed from Kid Rock. Next up, the Olsen twins. Why is every guy in America waiting for these chicks to turn 18? I mean, you know what I'm saying? If there's grass on the field, play ball. Cool headliner. Yeah, but at least he doesn't speak Spanish. You know? I'd rather have this than someone who speaks Spanish. That's your guy, MAGA? How come you got so many pedophiles running around in your party and in Trump's orbit? Even without the Epstein files, you guys are just the party of pedophiles, and now you got the Epstein files. You're protecting the dead ones too. I thought there'd be an RTP halftime show. Maybe we will. Maybe I'll do like Kid Rock covers for the halftime show. I would cover any of the other musicians that Turning Point USA is going to have if I knew a goddamn song that they sang. But I don't know any of the songs that any of them sing. So sorry. Maybe we could learn some. All right. Let's talk about the state of polling with our favorite pollster. And because there's a CNN logo here, we know that it's sure to make MAGA very upset. Cue the CNN. I'm not going to believe that. Fake news in the chat. Here's Harry Enton.
Joining me now, where do Americans think the economy is going right now?
Yeah, here is the reality check for everyone. And I would just say this is the problem for the President of the United States. You get elected to fix the economy, and the American people, they ain't buying it. Because just take a look here. Say the economy is getting worse. Right after Donald
Son of a bitch. Well, you heard it. My bad.
Trump was elected back in 2024, re-elected, 42% of Americans said the economy is getting worse. Well, you want that number to go down. You want that number to go down if you're the President of the United States. Instead, it's going up. What are we talking about? Now, 55% of Americans say that the economy is getting worse. I don't know how you win when the majority of Americans say the economy is getting worse, because you go back through the record books, and that is a formula that equals failure.
And what do Americans want Trump to focus on the most?
Yeah, this, I think, is the whole kit and caboodle, right? Much of the news stories over the month.
There it is. There it is. Thank you. Who cares? It's crazy. I don't know how you guys look yourselves in the mirror, but how the fuck am I going to tell you what you're about to say, and you just say it anyways? You just can't help yourself. Communist News Network. You guys got to be better than this. Every time, one of these days, we're going to show a CNN clip and predict your behavior, and you won't do it. Somewhere along the line, you guys may get some self-respect. Nope.
January, we're focused in on Minneapolis, focusing in on controlling immigration and reducing crime. Those are two things that the President of the United States and his administration has been arguing about. But where do the American folks say that Trump should be focused? Say their top priority should be lowering prices, 54%, the clear majority. We have looked at poll after poll after poll after poll after poll. I'm exhausting myself just talking about it. And every single poll say that their top priority should be lowering prices or the economy. And it is still the case. Much lower down, controlling immigration at 22%. Even lower than that, reducing crime at 10%. You add together 22 and 10, you get to 32. Yeah. And you don't have to be a mathematical genius to know that 54 is larger than 32. The Trump administration is putting their focus on the wrong issues, the issues that are not most important to the American public. And when you are focusing on the wrong issues, and the vast majority of Americans, or the clear majority of Americans, say that the economy is getting worse, again, this is X plus Y equals failure. Failure, failure, failure going into the midterm elections, because Donald Trump was elected to fix the economy, and it's still belief in the American people that lowering prices should be the top. And at this,
no one believes the fake news anymore. We only believe news that we like,
says a grown-up on the internet today.
I only pay attention to things that confirm my bias. I will not pay attention to anything other than what confirms my bias,
says a grown-up on the internet. You children.
55% say the economy is getting worse.
So
he is going to be my president for 3 more years. Probably. Maybe not. If these midterms don't go the right way, he may not be. And if the midterms don't go the right way, he may want to step down and get a pardon before it's too late. I might recommend that if I were Donald Trump, for the amount of crimes he and his family have committed since he's been president. It's not going to go well. That's the other thing about Trump that I think a lot of people don't talk about, and we don't talk about it enough. How little he fucking cares about his family, because he's protected and he's going to die relatively soon. But his family, they're not always going to be protected. So when you commit crimes as the Trump family, you don't get the protection of presidential immunity. How could you? Right? Because the president is out here saying, I have nothing to do with these decisions that my family is making. Okay, well, then you can't really give them protection because it was you that committed the crime, because you said you didn't commit the crime. It's going to be tough. All right, let's go now. One more thing here. I want to show you the polling when it comes to independence, because you guys need independence. And Trump made some leaps with independence in the last election, and those seem to be gone now.
I guess the question, as we get closer and closer to the midterms, which party do people trust, knowing how they feel about how Donald Trump has handled things when it comes to the economy?
Right, the economy, right? Affordability. You know, Donald Trump has been dismissing affordability concerns, but when 54% say the top priority should be...
Oh, shit, this was the one that was... This is the wrong clip. Sorry, I just showed that. Never mind. I don't have the right one. I put the same one on there twice. My bad. All right, let's move on to my favorite video on the internet so far. Jake Lang, who's just an absolute dipshit, got kicked out of a bar a couple days ago, tried to make a video about how he was so picked on, threatened a woman a bunch of different times. There is a ICE sculpture in Minneapolis that says prosecute ICE, and it was put there by a veterans group. But Jake Lang, in all his toughness and his mismatched army fatigues here, he's a badass. And I'm only showing this because I want you to watch how not tough this guy is, and watch these kicks. Watch his arms flail, the lack of flexibility. These are some of the weakest kicks I've ever seen in my life.
Hey-ya! Oh! Hey-ya! Oh, yeah! Hey-ya! Hey-ya! Kick him! Ooh! Got him!
Pro-ICE, baby! America first, America only! We'll see you here February 7th, Saturday, 12 noon, outside the Minnesota State Capitol.
He's so out of breath. 5 kicks, and he's like, oh man, I need a break. Let's watch it again.
Pow! Boom! Kick! Hooray! Woo! Yay! Eat 'em!
Pro-ICE,
Yay!
baby! America first, America!
This is what you would see like an 8-year-old doing outside, making their own little videos. Like, he just made a karate video kicking ice blocks. You guys are the most pathetic group of people. What's he going to show? What's happening on February 7th? I keep looking it up. It must be him and all 6 of his friends are going to show up and do something, probably get their ass kicked again. That dude's just begging. He wants to be a martyr so bad, and everybody just fucking hates him. I don't even think the people on the right like him. I don't know what kind of numbers he's doing, but I'm guessing it's not big. But they planned that. They staged that. And then he got arrested for that, by the way. He got arrested for kicking those down. So maybe he won't be available on February 7th. I don't know how that's what the charges actually were. Shout out to my home state of Utah. You guys are doing great. We've talked about this a little bit, but what happened in the state of Utah is that they have a completely corrupt state government, and they are beholden to the Mormon Church, and the Republicans in the government basically have stripped the people's rights away over and over again to direct legislation. So that even when you have a ballot initiative where the voters vote for a specific thing, the state legislature just guts it however they want anyway. So in 2018, Utah voters, which is a deep red state, voted that they didn't want gerrymandered districts and that there should be independent redistricting. And that was in 2018. And until this year still, there was they had not done redistricting with an independent redistricting commission. The Republicans just ignored it, and they're like, no, we're going to make our own gerrymandered maps. And so finally, it went through the court process, and a judge ruled that an independent commission that had drawn maps had drawn a more fair map, and that created a 5th district, which was going to be a blue district. So that's what the people of Utah voted for. That's what the people of Utah got. And now Republicans are trying to undo that. So they first tried to get enough signatures to overturn, and it doesn't look like they're going to get those signatures. They may have passed the date already. So now they're going to court, and the Republican bootlickers just are getting in line to do this. This is Burgess Owens. I think he was a former NFL player, and I don't remember, Celeste Malloy. They now are on an all-out blitz. And saying that the judge's selection of a new U.S. House map is unconstitutional. Imagine that. In the state of Utah, what they're saying is unconstitutional is that the voters voted for something as a ballot initiative. It was signed into law. The judge followed that law, and now they're citing that that is unconstitutional, and you must return that power back to the legislature and remove the will of the people. The federal lawsuit argues that voters and the elected officials would suffer irreparable harm if the new congressional map chosen by 3rd District Judge Diana Gibson is allowed to remain in place. The complaint contends the U.S. Constitution gives the power to draw political boundaries exclusively to state legislatures. Well, states, right? So if you have a ballot initiative, because that is a state decision, and the people in the state vote for that ballot initiative, and you sign that ballot initiative into law, that is now the law. They want the court to let the legislature draw a new map or to allow the 2026 elections to go forward under the map that's been in place since 2021. In one stroke, as they whine, like they always do,
Judge Gibson's decision has effectively displaced the elected representatives of the people of Utah and substituted her own preferred electoral arrangement drafted by partisan litigants that openly sought to flip one of 4 Republican congressional seats to a Democrat. That's not true. They added a 5th one. But again, this was the will of the people, the deep red state, the Republican state of Utah, who wanted to do this. That's all that happened. Voters are harmed, they argue, by not having a say in the boundaries that are chosen. Well, that's why they voted for an independent redistricting. They didn't want the legislature to make those decisions. They wanted an independent commission to make those decisions so that it was fair. Good job, state of Utah. Good job for the Republican voters who voted for that. Because most Republicans across the country would be like, nah, dude, we want to keep this rigged for us. We don't want it to be open and fair. And we've showed the numbers. Utah should absolutely have at least 1 Democratic seat. The amount of registered Democrats that they have there, specifically in Salt Lake County, which is their entire local government is basically Democrats. The mayor of Salt Lake is a Democrat. They've been voting Democrat for decades, and they never have Democratic representation on the federal level because they've been gerrymandered out of a seat in their most populated county. They just take bits and pieces of those counties and ship them out and mix them with rural counties so that they don't have proper representation. The new challenge comes as the Republican-led legislature is asking the Supreme Court to overturn Gibson's decisions. Last Friday, lawyers for the legislature filed a motion arguing the state constitution gives lawmakers the sole power to draw congressional and legislative boundaries, and attempts to limit that power are themselves unconstitutional. There's no fucking shot here. There's no fucking shot they win this. They sued California like 8 times for this exact thing. And almost every single case was dismissed. And now the Supreme Court has weighed in and they're like, yeah, dude, we can't do anything about this. The states have this right. Like we can't overturn these rulings. So this isn't going to happen. But I just would offer to the Republicans in the chat here, the MAGA dick riders, I would just offer that at some point you might want to consider, at least on the outside, looking more democratic. You might want to consider the will of the people at some point before it's too late, before your party has absolutely no representation, because this is turning people in Utah. They couldn't gather the signatures to do what the Republicans in the legislature want. And the Republicans in the legislature are telling the people of Utah, you don't know what you want. Shut the fuck up. Let us do the job.
And I know that works for you guys. You just show up and do whatever Trump says and repeat whatever Trump wants you to repeat. I realize that that works for you. But for a lot of people who aren't cucky little bitches, that doesn't really work for them. They would like their voice to be heard. So just a suggestion. But I guess selfishly, I hope you don't figure it out before it's too late. I hope it becomes far too late. And then you're just left in your cuck chair alone watching nothing. When's the show going to start? Not for a lot of years, pal. Not for a lot of years, but stay there. I'm not going to show it. I feel like it's been played to death. But Donald Trump, you can see the picture here. It was a clip that he posted of Michelle Obama and Barack Obama as monkeys. The White House press secretary is like, it's actually because he's the king of the jungle. No, the fuck it's not. You are a special kind of stupid if you actually believe that. And you know that, like, if you've seen this, you know what it is. It's just that the people that are defending it don't care. They know that it's racist, but like racism's not a deal breaker for them. I want to point out, I was on Facts Live this morning, and I'll point out once again that every white man in the GOP is a spineless bitch. Every one of them. And all of the people in the GOP outside of Thomas Massie seem to have no spine. But Tim Scott, finally a bridge too far for Tim Scott. You love to see it. It's crazy that this is what it took. But a man who has been by Donald Trump's side through lie after lie, finally said, praying it was fake because it's the most racist thing I've seen out of this White House. The president should remove it.
Every comedian is a racist, according to you.
No, I'm not. No, but Donald Trump's not a comedian. He's the president of the United States, and putting the only black president and his wife as monkeys is racist. And like, we're not even going to argue that with you. If you're okay with it, you are racist. That's how this works. You can't look at something objectively racist and say it's not racist, and then you yourself not be racist. But gross. And fuck you if you like it. Moving on. This was on C-SPAN this morning. Caller on C-SPAN.
Oh my word! I am a registered Republican. My dad was the president of American Pipeliners Association, so I came by it rather naturally. Voted for the president, supported him. But I really want to apologize. I mean, I'm looking at this awful picture of the Obamas. What an embarrassment to our country. All this man does is tell lies. He is not worthy of the presidency. He takes bribes blatantly, and now he's being a racist blatantly. They were supposed to deport the dangerous criminals. They were not supposed to go after small children, storm schools, bring terror upon, the little kids and the women and children, not just the immigrants in the school. All the children are scared. This is not a decent man. This is not an honest man. He openly takes bribes. He's pathetic as a president, and I just want to apologize to everybody in the country for supporting this rotten man.
John, did you vote for him in all three elections?
I did. I was sucked into the stupidity of creating jobs, and there are no more jobs in New Mexico. Things are worse than they were before. You cannot find a primary care physician. Our governor just passed some laws to try to help. If you are a young physician, we want you in New Mexico. Come here. There's a great need for you.
All right.
All right. Well, decide whether or not you want his apology. You can make of that what you will. Make your own decisions. But it is changing people's minds. It is alarming sometimes that something like this was the straw that broke the camel's back, but it is what it is. We'll take the wins when we can. Donald Trump is a disgusting racist. The the Trump administration is a white supremacist, racist administration. The whole last half of the show yesterday was evidence of that. The whole last half of the show is we talked about the economic impact of immigrants on this country, people without legal or without citizenship. So asylum seekers, refugees, and people who are here who are undocumented have kept our country afloat for 20 plus years. We would be our already crippling debt would be significantly worse. Right now, I think we're at like 124% debt to GDP, which is way too high. But without immigrant labor and immigrants paying into our tax system, we would be at over 200% debt to GDP, trailing only Japan, who is of all the wealthy countries, is by far in the worst place. And Donald Trump is quickly hitting the accelerator, trying to drive us closer and closer to where Japan is. But at this point, there's not really a good argument. Immigrants create less, or they perform less crime. They're less likely to commit traffic violations. They pay far more into the system than they take out of the system. What you're left with, if you are somebody who still is like, we need mass deportations, is, I don't like these people. I just want them gone. It's the replacement theory, folks. The ones who think that they're here to steal your jobs. Greg, thank you very much. Said, bring on the big Jesus. Bring on the big, beautiful obituary of natural causes. Of course, we would never advocate for anything to happen to Donald Trump in that way, and I'm certainly not advocating for that, but I do believe that the world will be a significantly better place when he's gone, and I hope that it is a natural ending to his life so that we don't have to deal with conspiracy theories for the rest of our life, or accusations that it was the left that took him out, or whatever it might be. But yeah, I look forward to the day that Donald Trump can no longer open his mouth. Amy Lynn said 26% of doctors in the United States are immigrants, 16% of nurses, and we have a shortage.
You must be high and stupidly ill-informed.
The Cato Institute, Robert Kidd, a very right-wing organization, conducted a 22-year study on the impact of immigration. And you can watch the show yesterday, or you can read it yourself. But I am not ill-informed. I'm accurately informed. And I'm sorry that facts don't align with your feelings. Don't be a bitch. That's one of the things we preach on this show every day to you folks, is that your life would get significantly better if you weren't such pathetic, cucky bitches. So stop being pathetic, cucky bitches. Don't reject data that doesn't conform with your ideas. Accept it. Change your mind sometimes. Learn new things. It's fun. It's okay to say I was wrong. It's okay to admit you were duped by this guy. You're lashing out at me right now for giving you data. That's on you, I think. All right, moving on here. Jesus Christ, I don't know. I don't even want to show this. This is how far from reality we are. There's not an argument here. This is Michelle Bachmann, who I believe wasn't she accused of like being a witch or something? Isn't there something with Michelle Bachmann being a witch? I'm gonna look that up. I should have looked that up before. She faced criticism for leading what was widely termed a witch hunt. Was there something about like witchcraft? Or am I mixing her up with somebody else? Not Michelle Bach. Oh no, I'm saying that. Wasn't there something there? That was someone else. Who was that? Robert, you're too stupid to listen to anymore, bud.
You too, buddy. You're in for an eye-opening sometime.
Do you have anything to say specifically?
I do not. I just know that my feelings about Donald Trump are very strong. And because I don't have any way to refute the data that you guys present, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ominously say, just wait and see. I'll be right. You'll be wrong. You don't have a fucking opinion. You can't be right. You just don't want to hear negative stuff about Trump. But anyways, here's Michelle Bachmann. What we do with this level of lunacy is not up to me. I don't think I'm qualified to figure out how you fix what we're about to hear, but somebody needs to get a hold of Michelle Bachmann.
They see Gavin Newsom as this big beauty, but I would say I'd put up Donald Trump against him any day. I mean, here you have Donald Trump, who's in his very late 70s. The guy is absolutely handsome, incredible shape. He's married to the most beautiful.
Incredible shape, they said about Donald Trump. Look, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. That's fine. If you think he's handsome, whatever. I guess you like your men in full makeup and heels and a girdle and a diaper and spray painted face and the world's most pathetic comb over. That's fine. Everybody likes different things, and we don't shame for that. If you find Donald Trump attractive, fine. But great shape. He is a shape. He's not playing golf anymore. Great shape. I would put Donald Trump, she says, up against Gavin Newsom. We have reached Kim Jong-un levels of delirium. What kind of human being would say that on television in front of a camera? That is... What do we do with this?
Handsome, incredible shape. He's married to the most beautiful woman in the world. And I'd put Donald Trump up against Gavin Newsom any day of the week. And Gavin wouldn't even be in the same league as Donald Trump. So
I would just remind you that I dare you to find me one picture of Melania looking at Donald Trump the way that Melania looks at Gavin Newsom. Let's see if we can pull that up. I dare you to find me one. I'll pull that picture up. She hasn't smiled looking at Donald in ages. Let's see if I can find it. Thrilled. We'll just watch the video. Oh, that's the kiss. They don't have the full video. Come on. Here we go. To live and die in LA. Probably can't play Tupac. Look, she's so happy to see him. I like this video, by the way. Who do you think Melania winds up with as soon as Trump's gone? Anyways, this level of delirious is getting sad. That's you guys. California is a liberal dystopian shithole. Yeah, it's just where everybody wants to fucking live. Everybody lives there because it's a shithole. That's right. Why don't the real place, the real heaven is Arkansas. Greg says round is a shape. That's true. Electric Dad said Trump is running the country like he usually does into bankruptcy. Amy, I got that one from Amy Lynn. Thank you very much. Appreciate you guys. Just a reminder, we're crowdfunded. I'll update that in a minute. Tony said, come on, McDonald's, work faster. Oh, Jesus. Alfredo says, Trump is off the rails. I'm worried about November. Same. We'll get into a little bit of that today, what I think their plans might be. Amber says, $5 friendly Friday. Appreciate that. Amber says, MAGA wakes up with severe menstrual cramps daily. Sully says, for Jen's Patriots jersey, everyone take care of your mental health. Love you all. Go Pats. Just a reminder to Sully, your team owners in the Epstein files. Jeff says, here's to cuddling with, let's just read that again. Here's to cuddling up with the gorgeous Jen on a rainy day. I love that. Why does that audition look like a mosque? I don't know. This is the building that was on Epstein Island. If you're not familiar with what this building is, this is the building that was on Epstein Island. Somebody actually sent me, and I forgot. I read it, and I don't even remember what I read. But they told me like what this was and why they had it that way. But yeah, that's looks like that. 60 cents to YouTube. Good point, Billy. Good point. Eric said she must have had beer goggle laser surgery. That's just cult shit, man. It's just they're just, everybody's so desperate to get his praise or his attention. And the way that you elevate yourself in MAGA is just to publicly fillet Donald Trump. And it really is exactly the same as they do in North Korea. And Trump eats that up. They know that that's the way to get to him. Just tell him he's great, tell him he's handsome, tell him he's better than whoever it is that he hates, and you're in. You remember the other day when he was talking about Bill Clinton? He got mad. He was like, I don't like that the people are going after Bill Clinton. I like Bill Clinton. What did you like about Bill Clinton? I liked that he was nice to me. Oh, gotcha. Remember when Donald Trump was defending Bill Clinton the other day? What do you have to say about that, MAGA? While we're here, let's pull that up. You guys have any thoughts on Trump defending Bill Clinton? Are you also upset that people are going after Bill Clinton? Where were those people earlier? How come Trump's defending Bill Clinton? Curtis said, let's be real, Trump is just going to cheat the midterms. I'm worried the Democrat politicians aren't going to fight for us and be full of platitudes. That is a legitimate worry on all of those points. Trump is a Democrat? Oh, okay. Wait, I like this one. Going to be laugh my ass off when it's proven you stole the election and you get another 4 years. Dude, this is the second term. You wouldn't get another 4 years. People would just go to prison. Anybody, like if you proved that the election was stolen, people would just go to prison. How are you all dumb? You can only have 8 years as president. You don't get an extra 4 years. Yeah, exactly. Funny after how the Clintons offered to testify in public. Trump likes Bill and Hillary. He's being nice to Hillary again now, too. How do we feel about that, Trump supporters? Drew, I don't believe that quote is true, actually. You can amend the 22nd Amendment. You can, but so far we haven't, right? And in order to do that, you're going to need 60%. Good luck. You're not going to get enough votes to amend that. That's what we want, is for people to go to prison. Yeah, well, some evidence would be cool at some point that there was fraud in that election. Some evidence, sometime would be terrific. All right, moving on. This is a crazy story. This was reported, I'm trying to remember who reported this first. I know it wasn't USA Today, but I had to pull it up here because it was behind a paywall. But allegedly, Trump wanted New York's Penn Station and Virginia's Dulles International Airport named after him in exchange for dropping his freeze on billions of federal dollars for a New York tunnel project. Reuters broke the story. What are we doing here? This is a pathetic existence of a human. I won't give you federal funding unless you rename things after me. Trump told Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer last month his administration would drop its hold on $16 billion in federal funds for the Gateway Tunnel project between New York and New Jersey, Reuters reported, but under one condition, that Schumer agreed to rename Penn Station and Dulles after the president. Yeah, this is what he got impeached for, by the way. If they lose the midterms, he's impeached again, and if they lose the House and the Senate, he may be removed. Because he's already been impeached for this exact thing, withholding congressionally approved funds past their date in order for political favors. Schumer swiftly rejected Trump's proposal, telling the White House he didn't even have the power to rename the landmarks. The federal government owns the Dulles Airport. Amtrak owns and operates Penn Station. Punchbowl News, citing 4 sources, first reported on Trump's offer to Schumer. The White House and Schumer's office did not respond to requests for comment. If Trump got the Democrat nomination instead of Hillary Clinton, what you morons be complaining about? Hell of a sentence there. I would be complaining that Democrats elected a pedophile. That's what I would be complaining about. I would be doing the opposite of you. I would not be sucking his dick. I would be like, Democrats, why did you elect a pedophile? A racist, criminal pedophile. You should not have done that. And I wouldn't be a Democrat, which I'm not. I would certainly abandon that party. You know how I know I would abandon the party if my party elected Trump? Because that's exactly what I did when I was a Republican and my party elected Trump. I left. I was like, there's no fucking way I'm going to be attached to this obvious criminal. Just a complete moron. The amount of stuff that you believe, like if we had a quiz one day, like a true or false quiz, and we asked Republicans what they believe about Donald Trump, none of them would score above 50% on accuracy. Not one. But unfortunately for us, you guys elected him, and then you just you became cucks. I don't know how that happened. I think I actually, well, I mean, I do know how that happened. You all have daddy issues. Kirsten said, "Did you hear about the raid the island trend?" No, what's that? Jen, do you know about the raid the island trend? What is that?
I don't think I've heard that one.
Gotcha. Tactical renovations. You can come up here and talk to me. All the Republicans that are begging for me to respond to you in the chat. I've got stuff to do. I've got a whole outline to get through. If you want my attention that badly, it's free. Just message Jen on Discord. You can come up here and talk to me. But when I call you cowardly bitches, when I call you cucks, and then you sit in the chat and continue to be cowardly bitches, I'm left to assume that I was right about you. If you're not one of the cowardly bitches, certainly you can come up and have a conversation. Not one single person ever has come up here and had a conversation with me that wasn't where I wasn't respectful and gave them an opportunity to speak. So find your courage and come up, or be cowardly and sit in the messages and or in the comments and beg for attention. This the White House put out and then quickly deleted, and there's obviously a reason for this. We put out, for the first time in 5 years, a majority of Americans say their personal finances are improving. This is just the beginning of the Trump economic boom. And they cited Rasmussen, who hasn't done a poll on this, and that's probably why they deleted it, because Rasmussen probably said, we never said that. I tried to find where that number came from, and the only place I can find a 62% number was from a Verasite poll about America's views on their finances. And you can see here, despite widespread concern about the economy overall, Americans express striking optimism about their own financial futures. Nearly 3 in 4 adults expect their personal finances to improve in 2026, including 18% who anticipate major improvement. Optimism is strongest among young adults, with 87% of Americans 18 to 29 expecting their finances to get better next year. Even among adults 65 and older, a majority, 62%, believe their financial situation will improve. This is just people being optimistic. That's it. Why do they lie to you every day? Why do you let that happen? What truth do we assume I'm afraid of here, Patrice Williamson? What's the truth? What am I missing here? I'm going to guess that your answer is something about your feelings on Donald Trump. Remember that interview? We showed some clips of it yesterday, but we didn't get all the way through it. I want to show this one. Just a reminder to all of you that Trump absolutely promised you that you were going to get $2,000 checks. Remember that? Remember that promise? He said it. You didn't get them. And now he's doing the Trump thing. He's backtracking, but because he knows how in love with him his base is and how they will believe anything that he says, he's now doing the Trump thing where he's like, hold on. It'll be 2 weeks, 2 months. It's coming. Don't worry. It's coming.
You floated the idea of $2,000 rebate checks for Americans from tariff revenue. Who's going to get that, and when is that going to happen?
We'd make it. I'm looking at it very seriously. I'm the only one can do it because I'm taking in hundreds of billions of dollars of money.
But you can promise some Americans will get those checks.
Oh yeah, sure. I can do that. I haven't made the commitment yet, but I may make the commitment.
So it's not.
Well, I just gave 7.
Oh, so now he didn't give a commitment. Now he's thinking about committing to it.
1776, right?
Yeah.
To the military. Right? $1,776.
But you said all Americans.
It's 17.
Let's talk about the $1,776. That was money that was already allocated to them. He just put his name on it after to pretend like they were getting a bonus that they were already getting.
1975. They presented it to me because that's what we have in a budget that I created because I want to take care of our military. Nobody takes care of the military like I do. Yeah. So $1,775. And I said, wait a minute, if you had $1, it's 1776. You know that's quite a famous date.
Yeah,
right?
of course.
So anyway, wait, so I gave.
They presented it to me at 1775. I said, check this out. How about 1776? It's a famous date, he said. Year. It's not a date, but we'll let that slide. This guy brags about the absolute lowest things possible. Like, bro, what are you you're bragging about coming up with that idea? This is how good of a job I'm doing. They said, how about 1775? And I said, how about 1776? First of all, he's lying. There's no fucking shot. This is as true as when he said that they came to him, his staff or his administration came to him and they said, sir, where's all this extra money coming from? How did we get all this extra money? And he said, did you check the tariff shelf? And they went and they checked the tariff shelf and they found the money, as if our money is sitting on shelves. And they're like, oh, fuck, I didn't look at the tariff shelf. Could you please stop pretending that this guy isn't a moron? Please, please, please. I'll be nice. Pretty please. It's not useful to anybody for you to keep pretending that this guy isn't a toddler.
1,776 to our military, and they are very thankful.
Let's get to the Fed.
And now I may be doing that with regard to the entire population.
Okay.
Stop whining. How quickly you forget Trump won the popular vote, won the electoral college, flipped every purple state. What up with that? What up with that is that in all of those states, in every election that has been contested since he won that election, which I, by the way, believe there was some fuckery there, and you can go back and watch my episodes. Feel free to disagree with that. I wouldn't say that as a statement of fact. But ever since he won, people have been abandoning him. They're like, oh, fuck, we made a mistake. So keep living in the past. It's what you guys do. You never talk about what Trump's doing. You just complain about Joe Biden. You live in the past. You are the most whiny group of bitches I've ever seen in my life. You're in total power. And Donald Trump and this administration show up in front of a microphone every fucking day and whine about Joe Biden. I'm sorry that you think that telling the truth about Donald Trump is whining. But if we're going to talk about whining, let's call balls and strikes here, huh? Let's call balls and strikes about Donald Trump whining every single day while he's president. Nothing is my fault. Everything is Joe Biden's fault. All good is me. All bad is Joe Biden. Eric said, you're wrong. The shelf is next to the adult diapers. Amy said to get the checks, he'd have to print money, which they believe causes inflation because by his own numbers, we are... I don't know what the 8 is. We are in more debt. It's probably just supposed to be more debt. We are in more debt. He has not brought money in. He has taken more of our money. Yeah, now he wants to pay himself $10 billion for the fuck of it. Did you know, by the way, I was unaware of this, that Donald Trump saying that his tax returns being leaked it means that he gets to sue the government for $10 billion. But like, I think it's like 400,000 Americans had their IRS data leaked as well. So if you do, we all get $10 billion? How come you guys aren't advocating for it? Do you want to bankrupt the whole country, or only Trump can get it? That's what MAG is advocating for today. It's okay if Elon Musk takes all of our data from the Social Security Administration. It's okay if our data leaks. We won't do anything about that. But if you leak Trump's tax returns that he promised to give us, we are going to give Trump $10 billion of taxpayer money. Not a fucking peep from any of you. We're not allowed to talk. We sit in the chair with our dicks in our hands. They said no talking. Trudy said, hope this helps you get through till that Doge check arrives. Thank you, Trudy, very much. Appreciate that. I bet, man, thank God I didn't hold my breath. Purdy Kiki, appreciate that. That's very generous. Said I appreciate all that you, Jan, and the mods do. That was very kind. Thank you. Trump said in his most recent sit-down that he will not be running again. Trump hasn't ran in 40 years. I don't know if ever. I saw a video of him playing volleyball once, and that was probably the last time that he ran. Let me update this real quick. Let's play a little ad from our, hopefully one day they will be our sponsor. It's the only sponsor we're willing to take. Like, nobody's as soft as a conservative. Ladies, you know what I'm talking about. Those conservative men are soft as shit. That's why every time you go to a conservative podcast, it's like, and now to our sponsor, Blue Chew. Your dick can work again. You don't have to scream at women when your dick doesn't work. This'll fix it. Jessica says, kick a wooden tent stake if you hate Trump. Some of you are dark today, and I appreciate, I very much appreciate that. All right, let's get to this hearing yesterday. Scott Bessent had a hearing yesterday in front of, I think it was the finance. I think it's finance. And he was asked a lot of good questions. This by Ruben Gallego, who I'm just going to say, like, I don't know what it is. Does anybody else in Arizona feel the same way about Gallego? That, like, I'm glad he's there. I'm glad a Democrat won. But holy shit, I would like somebody better than Ruben Gallego. He is just so uninspiring to me. And I apologize to Ruben Gallego, I guess. He's not my guy. I do not like Ruben Gallego very much. But I did like this.
You are fully aware that the president is suing your agency for $10 billion. Yeah. We would agree. Would you agree that $10 billion is a good sum of money?
Yes, sir.
Where would that be cut from? Let's say for some reason he actually wins that lawsuit. Where would that $10 billion come from?
Again, it would come from...
process-wise. I'm not asking, like, your opinion whether it's right or wrong.
It would come from Treasury.
It comes from Treasury, which comes from the general fund?
The Treasury general account.
So taxpayers?
Yes.
Thank you.
Part of the 440,000 taxpayers whose returns were leaked.
My bad, 440,000. I would like to pause this for a moment. We'll try this. We've been doing this every day. But MAGA, it's your time to shine. Why do you think Donald Trump should get $10 billion for his tax returns being leaked? Is that not corruption? Literally writing yourself a check for $10 billion? Can we get some support for that, please? Can you guys explain your support for that? I've been asking, and ironically, every time I ask this question, you in the chat go quiet. So could I just get an explanation from one of you? Yeah, Democrats are way better. Yeah, literally, every president ever is way better than a guy who's bilking our country for billions of dollars. Yeah, all of them. Nothing? Where are you guys? You're so begging for my attention. I'm stopping the show here. None of you napped. Yeah, exactly. Nap time. I got something to do right now. I'll come back when I can yell about women or something. Can you show some immigrants being beaten by ICE? My dick hasn't been hard yet today. Where are we? Just explain it. No, James. James Christmas, muted for 2 minutes. I'm asking you a specific question. I didn't praise Newsom. I said he was better looking than Trump, but you got to answer the question. I'm glad this host has a small podcast. He would be worse than Rush Limbaugh. Well, one, not a podcast. I don't know why you guys keep thinking this is a podcast. This is a live stream. Two, bad news. We're growing. That's not great for you. And it also hurts my feelings that you compare me to Rush Limbaugh. So good burn. Because you can do this in America as a citizen. You can. In America as a citizen, you can sue the IRS and then you can choose to settle. You can force the IRS to settle with you. You get to make the decision on whether or not you get paid out. Because remember, he's bypassing the court. It's not taking, this claim isn't going to court. They're going to settle it. Any of you? Wow, you guys got quiet as shit. He said he would donate it to charity. Yeah, fucking right. Yeah. And even if he's donating it to charity, so the government is donating $10 billion to charity. We're in the hole. Like, just if you are in debt, don't give a bunch of your money to charity. Pay your bills. Anybody? Anybody? No? How cute. Oh. Yeah, this is a oversized chair. I appreciate that, though. See, we ask them a question, they insult me. You small-minded little bitches. Anybody? Max, I see that. Can you please stop spamming that, Max? I appreciate that. I'm reading the messages. I'm reading as many messages as I can. Yep. Nobody said that he had to release his tax. I'm asking about why he's giving himself $10 billion. No, just insults on me. All right. Well, we gave it a shot. Good job, MAGA. Every fucking day we ask you the same question. We're just going to insult the host instead. All right. Now we've got some confusion because this administration is consistently in disarray. This is Tom Homan this morning. Or last night, excuse me, on Laura Ingraham.
People are, I think, understandably skeptical on the right and many on the left, but the MAGA types, is that like...
Craig says charity must be a teen. Good Lord, Craig. This guy Fox, Trumper men are the whiniest, softest group of baby boys this country has ever seen and are deeply submissive to male authority figures. Yeah, they do. The submission is real. And that's fine. Look, if you guys have daddy issues, if you have like submission kinks, that's fine. But there's better ways to deal with that. And for a small fee, you can get somebody to be your dom. You don't have to and they might fuck you with enough money. Like Donald Trump's never going to fuck you. Don't be his dom for free. In fact, it's costing you. Don't be his dom at the expense of this country. Sub. Get those kinks mixed up.
Don't back down. Mass deportation is what Trump ran on, and now it seems like we hear targeted raids, and so that it gives a lot of his hardcore supporters concern. Tonight, what can you tell us about that?
We're not backing down at all. I said today mass deportations will continue. And I said, no, if illegal aliens are not off the table, look, the normal footprint here is less than 150 agents. We got 2,400 boots on the ground here. And we're going to continue to force the immigration law. I'm out there tonight. We're forcing the immigration law. But we said from day one, January 20th, from day one, President Trump and I and other people in the administration said, we're going to prioritize the public safety threats, because that makes the most sense, because they pose the most danger. But we're not, we've arrested a lot of illegal aliens. Look at the numbers, over 700,000 deportations, which is a record for this agency. And 70% of those being criminals. I think that's a better stat than saying we arrested 700,000, deport them, and 70% were non-criminals.
First of all, that number's made up. Their own numbers say like 460,000. So again, with this administration, it's consistently overestimating the size of their numbers. And I think that you can draw that correlation between people who consistently overestimate the size of their numbers, that it shows that there is insecurity in the size of their numbers. And sometimes that will bleed into other parts of your life where you overstate the size of your small numbers. And we see that consistently out of this administration.
No, makes perfect sense for the safety and security of this country, because President Trump promised to make this country safe again. Mass deportations are here. They're coming. We're already breaking records, and we're not going to stop. If you're in the...
All right. Well, okay, cool. Tom Homan, I don't like what you're saying there, but that sounds like the official stance of the administration until you hear the president speak. And now I'm just fucking confused, because this sounds like the exact opposite of what Tom Homan just said.
So I want to be clear, because it sounds like there is a shift in immigration enforcement here, that there's going to be a shift after Minneapolis. What should Americans expect going forward?
Well, one thing I say to my people, we do a good job, we don't get credit for it. I say they have to ask and they have to say please. When a city is going... Who has to ask?
We don't get enough credit for saying that you have to ask and say please. Yeah, I don't think you get credit for that. You're not a charity, bud. This isn't your money that you're giving. It's your job. His demands for everybody to just line up and praise him is getting pathetic. Could you tell me, anybody that could give me this quote, I will send you $20 personally. I would like a quote from any other president in my lifetime. So from 1980, well, I'll give you earlier, from 1980 until now, I would like a quote from any other president demanding that people ask him nicely for favors in order for him to do them. $20 for anybody who has that quote.
And who has
The
to say,
mayor
please?
or the governor. I don't want to go and force ourselves into a city, even if their numbers are terrible. Like, for instance, I got a call from Jeff Landry, governor.
Well, wait, hold on. So now we're not going to go into these cities anymore. We're not going to go into these cities unless they ask for help anymore. But Tom Homan is saying we're surging. That's confusing. You need the quote, don't just name presidents. I need the quote.
Of Louisiana, he said, we have a big problem. Could you go in and help us with well, let's see, certain sections. I mean, to be honest with you, certain sections of the state, beyond their famous, beautiful city, certain sections of the state. We have done, not only in New Orleans, we've done a really great job in Louisiana, but I was called. I want to be called. Chicago, we could solve the Chicago.
Because he gets critiqued regardless. Yeah, he's the president. And he needs to stop being a bitch about being critiqued. You know who gets critiqued regardless of what they say every fucking day? Me. And I don't sit here all day and go, it's unfair that you critique me. I beg you to talk to me. I beg you to come up and talk to me. We all get critiqued. That's part of life, and especially life in public office. People criticize you. I've never seen any president cry so much about being criticized and consistently point out how they get criticized. Every president that has existed in my lifetime has been criticized by somebody in the news every fucking day of their presidency. It's not new. He's just really corrupt, and he points out every time he gets criticized because he's a crybaby bitch. I want our country to be represented by people with thicker skin. Please?
Well, on that question, which cities are you headed to next?
We have 5 cities that we're looking at very strongly, but we want to be invited. We will sometimes call the governors and
Are
say,
they cities like Chicago, Philadelphia? Are these the cities?
We could straighten out the crime in Chicago. We've already...
Hold on. We're going to go back to this. Who just said that? Somebody just said, what's pathetic is that people steal billions from taxpayers and nobody says anything about it. I just showed Donald Trump is trying to steal $10 billion from taxpayers. That is more than all of the fraud in Minnesota. You cannot be serious when you say this shit. You're not going to say anything about fraud in Minnesota? We did. Multiple times, over and over, long before Nick Shirley. You can't talk about fraud if you don't say Donald Trump is doing the exact same thing.
Brought it down 25% just by being there. We could have Chicago be a safe city, just like D.C. is a safe city, just like all of these places that we've gone to. And I look forward. You know, I didn't campaign in that.
Well, let's look about the most dangerous cities. What are the most dangerous cities in America, MAGA? You ever look at these numbers? Let's figure out which cities he's going to. Is he really going to the most dangerous cities? If you're going just by homicide, New Orleans, good, they went there. Detroit, St. Louis, Baltimore, Oakland, Cincinnati, Cleveland, Atlanta, Philadelphia, Memphis, Buffalo. Then you get to D.C., Stockton, Miami, Milwaukee, Pittsburgh, then Chicago. Pretty far down the list. Why not St. Louis, Missouri? Why not go help out Josh Hawley in his state? Is he dumb?
Yeah. I campaigned on law and order, but I didn't think I'd be going into individual cities and making them safe.
Anything else you can tell us about the 5 cities? The 5 cities, anything else? So Americans are ready?
We'll be announcing them very quickly, but we could do something. As an example, I was called by people. San Francisco said, please, we have a Democrat mayor. He's trying very hard. Would you, friends of mine that live there, it's got crime problems. Would you?
I live in St. Louis, and Chicago is worse.
No, it's not. It's not even fucking close. I'll pull this up again. I guess I can show you the numbers. Let's see. Go to my history here. This is the problem with you guys. You have to learn that data exists. There's more than just your feelings. St. Louis is the homicide rate per 100,000 residents over the last 5 years, 43.8 homicides per 100,000 residents. Chicago is at 16.4. You're more than double. This is the problem with MAGA. They think that their feelings are like that. That's all they go on. My feelings are actually reality.
Let him do the job and not come in. Let's see how it works. I said, look, I can do it much quicker, much faster. Don't forget, we remove criminals. We took over 2,000 hardcore criminals out of Washington, D.C. If we didn't do that, 2% of the people create 90% of the crime. Think of that, 2%. So you have a criminal, because it's over and over again, 2% create 90% of the crime. We took out 2.
This is a criminal. This is a criminal. This is a convicted felon. One president is responsible for all the convictions of all presidents. 100%. One president is responsible for 100% of all criminal convictions of presidents. One president is responsible for being civilly held liable for sexually assaulting a woman. One president's responsible for 100% of those. That's a fun fact, isn't it? Here we go. Somebody said 44. I'll say it. 4,400 murders in Chicago since Pritzker took office. First of all, let's fact check that. And if that stat's wrong, before we go on, you need to apologize. Travis Fisher, somebody remember. Pritzker took office. Let's see. When did he take office? January 2019. So let's see if I can get murders by year in Chicago. Let's do a little math here. Jen, do you have a calculator handy? I'll pull this up.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me see if I can find the actual numbers here.
Hold on.
All right. Can you do the math for me? Oh, whenever you're ready.
Yep.
500.
Mm-hmm.
That was 2019 plus 776 plus 804 plus 719 plus 623 plus 587 plus 416.
Not all of it?
Yep.
4,425.
Okay, got the number correct. Perfect. Thank you. Now we said it. Now, when you measure things like murder, and you're trying to determine whether or not you are more or less safe in one place than the other, what you do is you say, what are the odds that I am going to be murdered in this place? And so the way that you determine how likely you are to be murdered in a place is you take the amount of murders and you divide it by the number of people that you have living there. And that's where you get the per capita, right? Or most of the time we're breaking that down into per 100,000. And those are the rates that I showed you earlier. So in Chicago, it was 16 per 100,000 people. And once again, in St. Louis, it was 42 per 100,000 people. And this is how they fuck you up, Republicans. They point to a lot of numbers. Like, for example, if you looked at California and you said like the amount of pick any crime, the amount of home burglaries in California, and let's just make up a number. Let's say it's 800,000 home burglaries over the past 4 years in the state of California. You'd be like, that's crazy. And then you compare it to Arkansas and you say, oh, there's only 40,000 in Arkansas. Arkansas, therefore, is more safe than California. No, it's not. You have to measure these by per capita to determine what the actual threat to you is. But Republicans cherry pick these numbers. They always do this, especially in blue cities. They do the total number on purpose because the total number is always going to be higher because there's way more people and people commit crimes. But if you look at actual crime rates and you look at red states versus blue states, red states have higher crime rates. What was the number one most dangerous city for being murdered? It was New Orleans. That is a red state. And then what will they tell you? Yeah, but New Orleans is a blue city under red state laws, right? Why is New Orleans the highest murder rate in Louisiana? Because that's where most of has the most murders in Louisiana, because that's where most of the people are. Why do you have high crime rates in a place like New Orleans? It's incredible wealth disparity. You want to know if you want to find the number one indicator for crime rates going up, look at wealth inequality. The charts basically go together. The further the gap between the rich and the poor in a place that you live, the higher the crime rate will be. It's always the case. Very rarely do you see an exception where you have no wealth inequality and massive crime. It just doesn't happen. All right, move it. I hope you appreciated that lesson. Moving on, let's talk about ICE. This is horrific. This happened in Texas. ICE entered a home with no warrant, and all of these people are citizens of the United States. You'll notice at the end of this video, ICE neither detains nor arrests any of them, and they entered this house without a warrant. Abolish ICE forever. This is what's happening in America. ICE is entering homes of American citizens with no warrant. There's nothing more American than having property rights in your own home, by having the right to determine who comes into your home and who doesn't. We specifically wrote a constitution saying that the government can't just come into your home without reason, without a warrant. That is built into every American's rights. And Texas, bucket.
But no warrant. U.S. citizen and no warrant. Inside my house. They're inside my house. Open the door. Wait, Mom, is that you? Wait, hold on. Where is he? Get out the fucking house. You don't have a fucking warrant. Get out the house. No warrant.
Oh, and now we're going to put our hands on a child. Now we're going to put our hands on a child as well. Yeah, exactly. Tread on me harder, Daddy.
You don't need to touch him. Why are you touching him? Why are you touching him? Papi, este por acá, este por acá. ¿Por qué le estás tocando? Are you good? No. You have
It broke out. I think this is the one. They broke out the window to the house. Yeah, hand on his gun, other hand on a kid.
Where the fuck is your warrant? Where is your warrant? Where is your warrant? Where the fuck is your...
Nope, all of these, Pickle Juice, I'm going to need you to apologize. Pickle Juice, these are all American citizens. You'll notice the ICE leaves with none of them. So somebody keep an eye on Pickle Juice. Pickle Juice, we will demand an apology for that. Thank you. Or you're free to leave.
Hurry up! Get the fuck out! Get the fuck out! You broke the window! Get the fuck out! You broke the window! Get the fuck out! Get the fuck out! Where's your warrant? Where is your warrant? Come arrested! Where is your warrant? Hurry the fuck up!
Now let's add assault to that. These bitch ass, thin skinned fucking losers.
Where's your warrant? Where is your warrant, child molester? Where is your warrant? Hurry the fuck up!
And here's how you know that they don't have a warrant, and here's how the fuck that you know that they are doing something illegal, because now they're going to wrestle with this man, and they're going to leave with their tails tucked between their legs, covering nothing because they've lost their balls. They're just thin-skinned bitches. Now they're going to assault a man in his own home after breaking into this man's home. Like, honest to God, he could have shot him. And if it's my home, I am. Armed man walks into my home, breaks through my glass, he's being shot. They have every right to shoot both of these agents. Every right, and they didn't do it. But they have every right to do it. And I'm tired of you like, we're a constitution, we're law and order. Second Amendment. Texas? You're going to do this in Texas? Like, get rid of ICE now. If these people keep their jobs, what are you saying? If you're MAGA and you're supporting this, you're just cucks.
It's not Anthony. This other guy that's trying to help.
That's a great point. What's stopping anybody from dressing up as ICE and committing home invasions, Kaylee? Exactly. I missed that act. Did you see Minneapolis was nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize in California, Illinois, New York joined who? Who cares if America's healthy? Yeah, I saw that. Jerry said, F, Mary killed. I'll get to that in a second, actually.
Anthony's right here, but me and Anthony are not getting in this because I don't know. I don't want to have Hold on.
You say like I'm not going to do anything to ICE with the gun in my property. You know why? Because white privilege exists. That's why. Because ICE wouldn't break into my fucking house because I'm white. And that's what I fucking hate about you fucking losers. Is that what you don't, or like what you recognize is this will never happen to you, and you don't give a fuck about other people. But yeah, I'm a white dude with a white kid, so ICE isn't coming into my home, so I never have to deal with this. But what kind, like, how little empathy and how little do you care about humanity that you don't care if somebody else's rights are trampled on if they're brown? And stop saying that, like, you're not racist. Stop getting upset when we call you bitches Nazis. You are Nazis. And before anything, anybody who holds this level of racism, you are just terrified little bitches. You're afraid of things that are different than you, and you enjoy your perch of privilege while you look down your nose at people, and you did nothing to get this privilege. You were just born fucking white to get this privilege. And you think that you have like accomplished something or that you're better than somebody for that privilege. And just might I remind you that you are on the internet right now, and there are comments right now, and it won't be very long before in this country, you and I don't have privilege anymore. We're a few decades away from you and I no longer being in the majority. And you better hope to God that these people who you looked down your nose at, who you treated like shit, don't want to get revenge on you. You better hope to God that they don't, because you won't have the fucking numbers. And then you're going to be begging for me and those of us who stood with these folks and said they deserve rights, it doesn't matter what color their skin is. You're going to look to us and go, my brother, my white brother, well, look what they're doing to me. And you better hope to God that I hold this same standard for you. And I got to tell you, it's going to be really fucking hard for a lot of us to look you in the eye and say, yeah, bro, we got you. It's going to be a really tough moment for a lot of us. And I would like to think that I would stand up and speak out for your rights too, but holy fuck, you're testing the limits. And I can tell you that there's a lot of people that won't defend your rights. There is nothing great about, like inherently great about being a white person other than you were born into a majority. And so this fear that you have, that is manifesting right now where you celebrate while brown people are having their rights violated, make no doubt about it, it is fear. It is cowardice. It is bitch shit. And they will remember what you said when those days come. And we'll see, because there's going to be some people who want to get revenge. There just is. So I would think forward to that day. You all think the great replacement is happening. If you know the great replacement is happening, might I suggest that you stop treating people like second-class citizens based on their race before it's you that is the second-class citizen. Perhaps 30 years from now, we start talking about, well, maybe we should deport white people. I mean, they weren't here first. They're the one, they're the colonizers. They enslaved people. They wouldn't let women vote. They burned women as witches. Maybe further on down the road, they decide that you're poisoning the blood, that you're the cancer to the country, and perhaps you need to go back to Ireland. And then Ireland's going to be like, pass, we don't want them. And then we might just have to be like, you know what, fuck it, there's nowhere for them. We'll call up Bukele. Maybe Bukele will throw them in CCOT. I think long and hard about the direction this country is going and your support for obviously racist people. And you celebrating while black and brown people and marginalized people in this country are mistreated, because it's the not too distant future when you will be the minority.
I didn't know you were still there. I didn't know you were still there. Get out of the fucking house. Get out of the fucking house.
Now, look, if they had a legal right to be there, this man would be in cuffs. That woman would be in cuffs. All these people, they just assaulted an agent, right? They'd all be in cuffs right now. That's how you know they didn't have a warrant. That's how you know that nothing they did was lawful. And if we do not put these men in prison, I don't know what to say. They broke into a home. They assaulted multiple people. That's a crime.
What are you looking for? Look out of here! Pussies! We got here and I don't know how they got it. Fuck hey! I'm recording you. Right there. Get out of your face. Get out of your face. I'm recording. I'm recording a fucking face.
We'll see what happens. Fuck you if you support that. Now, look, there is not going to be any legal charges here because these ICE officers are all fucking pussies, and they claim that they always say that they are afraid for their life. But I just want to show this, and trigger warning for pet lovers. These are the type of people that we're dealing with.
A U.S. Marshal kicking a dog here in Memphis. The woman who shared this clip with us called it unacceptable, saying power doesn't excuse abuse. She also says the dog.
What a bitch. Those are the type of people that we have signing up for ICE. I want to tell you about this story. This was during some congressional testimony the other day. This is Silverio Villegas Gonzalez, who dropped his kid off at school and never came home. ICE agents shot him in the neck and then claimed that there was an attack and that he injured an agent. And now we have body cam footage, and none of that turned out to be true.
The story of Mr. Silverio Villegas Gonzalez. Here's a picture of Mr. Silverio Villegas Gonzalez. Mr. Romanucci, he dropped his kids off at school one morning, and then ICE agents stopped his car. When he tried to drive away, the agents claimed that they, quote, feared for their lives and then shot him in the neck. Mr. Villegas tragically died of his injuries. Mr. Romanucci, videos from the scene do not show Mr. Villegas Gonzalez hitting or attacking the agents. You're not aware of any evidence to the contrary, right?
I am not aware of any of that.
DHS also claimed an agent was, quote, seriously injured, but body cam footage showed the agent in question said his injuries were, quote, nothing major. You're not aware of any evidence to the contrary, right?
I am not, and that is very typical of the cover stories that we hear and the false narratives in order to defend their actions.
There was no evidence. This is part of a pattern. As you know, Mr. Romanucci, Mr. Villegas Gonzalez was stopped and then he was shot dead. The nation knows the names of Renee Good and Alex
Get rid of Tom QTS2R, please. Thank you.
Preti, but let us please not forget Mr. Silverio Villegas Gonzalez, a Chicagoan and a father of two, pictured here. Let me turn to another topic. Mr. Stoughton, in a ruling on DHS's excessive use of force, U.S. District Judge Sarah Ellis accused Greg Bovino, a commander in the Customs and Border Patrol, of quote unquote outright lying. That's what this poster shows, and that's what he did in a court of law, right? Yes. In fact, during his deposition, Mr. Bovino falsely claimed and lied that he was attacked before he deployed tear gas at peaceful protesters in Little Village in the Chicago area, correct?
Yes, he lied about being hit in the head with a rock prior to deploying chemical munitions. That did not happen.
It did not happen. He also lied about something else. In court, he falsely claimed that he did not tackle a protester to the ground during a demonstration outside of Broadview's ICE facility. But here are the pictures of him doing just that. He lied, and he lied again. I've already called for Secretary Noem to be fired or impeached. Today, I'm calling for Greg Bovino to be fired. In addition, he must be investigated and held accountable for his actions, and I believe crimes in Chicago and across the country.
There are a lot of people that I really don't like in the chat regularly, and I'm going to single you out, ICE CD7 or whatever the fuck your name is. It is complete and total cowardice, and it's pathetic when you come in here and you try and both sides this issue. There is nothing intelligent about your remarks that this is all to win votes. We are talking about people being murdered. We are talking about people being assaulted in their own home, to having their constitutional rights violated, and you come in here with a cowardly both sides argument. With all due respect, like, I see no difference between you and the bootlickers begging for the government to stomp on our necks more. You are asking us to ignore abhorrent behavior by going, but the both sides. Nobody gives a fuck about your both sides bullshit right now. No side has ever done this in this way with ICE. Nobody. This is the first time that ICE has ever done this. So respectfully, get a better opinion. Respectfully, don't come in with both sides bullshit. ICE has done this exactly one time in this country, and it's right fucking now at the direction of the Republicans. We don't have any time for your your both sides bullshit. Now I'll get to it. Jerry Mandarin says, F, Mary, kill Mace, Ingram, Noem. Holy assless Olympics. This is a tough one because it's about who do I dislike more, who does the most damage. Holy shit, that one is brutal. I'm gonna need Blue Chew for sure. Blue Chew, sponsor the show, please. All right, well, let's see. I don't want Noem to go because I think my concern with Kristi Noem losing her job is that they might replace her with somebody that has a brain. But we'll still do the same things. This is impossible. This is legitimately impossible. Marry. All right, I'll marry Laura Ingraham for the money. Yeah, Noem's got to go, and I guess I guess we just. You get wasted for a one-nighter with Nancy Mace. That was brutal. I hated that one, Jerry Mandarin. I hated that one. Axe says, did you see? Oh, I got that one. Joel said, comment on Freddie Freeman's statement to the White House. I don't know anything about that. Let's look that up real quick. What did he say? For the baseball player, Freddie Freeman? Is that who it is? No, ain't going anywhere. I know you guys like we like them dumb. We like all the dumbest ones. Does anybody know what Freddie Freeman said? So when you have a platform and scream, "This guy's bad" over and over, people believe you. People who fear ICE and fight them. Shut the fuck up, man. You are such a bitch. You're such a fucking bitch. I don't stand on here and scream over and over, "This guy's bad." I do research. I show you videos, and some of it gets me upset. God damn, you are. I don't think anything bothers me more than fence-sitting bitches. Shut the fuck up, dude. You're welcome to come up here and discuss this, but your fence-sitting bullshit and like tone policing, shut the fuck up. Get a backbone. No, I'm not. I'm saying this. No, get rid of ICE. Just get rid of them forever. Fuck you, dude. You're such a bitch. Nobody has time for your bullshit. But does anybody know what Freddie Freeman said? Sorry, I don't know.
I'm looking to see if I can find it.
Okay, cool. Steffelson said, "Very well said. MAGA are fearful traitors." 100%. Amy Lynn said, "Tracks crusty gnome unalives puppies and goats for no reason." Yeah. They don't care about human life. Soli, fuck you. Oh, Soli makes it even worse. Oh, this is actually an easy one for me, Soli. F. Mary on kill Kaepernick, Steve Young, Joe Montana. Joe Montana's got to go. He was before my time, and I grew up in Utah, so the reason I'm a 49ers fan is because I was a BYU fan. So Steve Young was like my idol growing up. So that's an easy one. Joe Montana was kind of the enemy. He's gone. I guess we're going a one-nighter with Kaepernick for the experience. Just an elite athlete, and then Steve Young. I'm gonna marry that man. We share common values, and we have roots in Utah. And he's got a nice setup, and I'll have some years to spend his money after he dies, as long as I outlive him. But that was an easy one. Thank you, Soli. I liked that one better. Did I miss any other ones? Why do I feel that ICE is the type who are also the domestic abusers at home, abuse children and women, go to schools and daycare, going to head to nursing homes next? Well, we know that a lot of them have been exposed as being that way. Robin said, "I think I've been banned from super chats. Haven't been able to send all week." Is he donating it to a charity like his kids' cancer charity? Sorry, I was late getting that. Yeah, there will be no transparency. He'll just say that he gave it to them. Burned Out Medic said, "All this to own the libs." Okay, so here's what it is.
That doesn't necessarily have this what he said, but I'm reading. So it sounds like he's declining to go to the White House after being invited. I'm trying to find the actual statement, though.
Nice. I'm reading it. It's not in this article, or are you still scrolling it?
I don't think so. Like when I was skimming through it.
I love that. I mean, the Warriors did that. There's nothing wrong with that. I think it's also pathetic to get upset for athletes for not wanting to go to the White House. It can be an honor, or it can be something that you have no desire to do. It's fine. You don't need to go kiss the ring. Okay. Moving on from that story. It's so fucking crazy that every day we have like 10 stories that we could do an hour on, of just how corrupt the administration is, how brutal ICE is, and we just have to move through them because there's so many. We wind up doing a whole show of just like moving through one awful story to the next. Let's not forget about this either. Got some screenshots here, but this is what is her last name? Diana Crespo, 7-year-old girl here. 7-year-old Gresham girl who was detained on her way to see the doctor last month is only eating bread with mayo, and her family has to purchase water because the water provided at the Texas Detention Center where they're being held is undrinkable. Now, I've said this a couple times to MAGA, but are we deporting people or are we putting them in concentration camps? Because if we're deporting them, why don't we fucking deport them? Why are we leaving them in concentration camps? What is the point here? Diana's aunt, who also said the Crespos told her the water at the facility was mostly salt water, which gave Diana stomach aches and made her feel lethargic. Thank God we managed to send money so my sister could buy water. The family's also concerned about Diana's health, particularly because she was detained on her way to see a doctor, and she had a fever for several days in detention. Diana did not have a serious health condition, but has been sick at the facility, and the Crespo family feels like that has not been taken seriously by the facility. According to Anna Linares, a friend of the Crespo family who spoke with OPB, Diana wasn't able to see a doctor at the detention center until Wednesday, January 21st, 5 days after she initially sought medical care with her family at Portland Adventist. Yeah, let's just torture children. That's what I would say too, Larry, if I was a dipshit. I would just say it's bullshit. Yeah. How many more things do you guys have to pretend aren't happening? Every day you have to wake up and go, I'm just going to pretend that's not real. It's good to see some politicians in this country with a spine. It's rare. And this one, we can both sides it, but Zoran Mamdani is not one of those. I liked Mamdani from the start, and I was happy to see him win. And I've been absolutely prepared to be disappointed by him, like we always are. And every time I see Mamdani talk, I'm like, holy shit, he's following through with what he said. Let me try this real quick before this goes. You use words like Nazi and concentration camps and don't know the reality of what you say. Fred, I know exactly what I'm saying. I use the term concentration camp and Nazi for a reason. What you don't understand is that Nazis existed before the final solution when they killed 6 million Jews. They were shitty before that. And you and your party, the Republican Party, the MAGA Party, you are the Nazis before that point. I've gone out of my way to say that what you haven't done yet is made the concentration camps into death camps. And I hope that we never get to that point. Concentration camps are a place where you concentrate a bunch of people and you lock them up and treat them inhumanely, which is absolutely happening. Your ideology is almost identical to the Nazis. Your nationalist rhetoric, your belief that these people are poisoning the blood, that they are here to replace you, that they are destroying our country economically, is exactly what the Nazis said about the Jews. Exactly. I use those words not flippantly, but purposefully. I say them because that's what MAGA is. I'm sorry if that offends you. Toughen the fuck up. Perhaps you might create some distance between you and the Nazis so it's not so fucking easy to make that comparison, but it is really fucking easy to compare it. I've done this multiple times where I let you guys pick a date and I pull a random Hitler speech and it's almost like verbatim what Donald Trump is saying every day. There is no daylight between your ideology and the Nazi ideology. There's no daylight between the Nazi Gestapo and ICE. None. It's just a different generation, and it's a different group of people who you've chosen to blame all of your problems on, and it's a whole bunch of bitches cheerleading it and pretending that there's nothing to see here. A whole bunch of Nazi cheerleading bitches who are like, no, I'm not. No, it's not happening. No, we're actually doing the right thing. I'm not using them flippantly. I don't use them to upset you. I use them to accurately describe you and what you're doing.
If faith offers us the moral compass to stand alongside the stranger, government can provide the resources. Let us create a new expectation of City Hall, where power is wielded to love, to embrace, and to protect. We will stand with the stranger today, tomorrow, and all the days that are still to come.
Here's more evidence that you guys are Nazis. It's sad how ignorant you are. We are tough, and the more you push toward a civil war with your words and action, you will see quickly the mistake. Yeah, see? You're just like them. You're just like them. if you use your words to oppose us, we will shoot you. We will fight you. We will use overwhelming force to shut you the fuck up. Yeah, this is the thing. Like, it would be nice if one of you, one of these times when I explained why you are Nazis, didn't say Nazi shit back to me. Yeah, that's what the Nazis did too. Shut the fuck up. Comply. Just let the government do its thing. Get out of the way. Let us round up these Jews. Create some daylight, please. Make it possible for me to believe that you're different than them, but your responses are exactly what their responses are. That's why I keep saying it.
And that is why this morning, right here in this moment, I shall sign an executive order that will uphold our city's protection not just of our fellow immigrant New Yorkers, but of all New Yorkers from abusive immigration enforcement.
Yeah, we got a democratic socialist here, the only person, or one of the few people in this country that has decided that they will use their role as mayor to protect the rights of their citizens. What we once thought were constitutionally protected, which is you can't come into my house without a warrant. You can't just do whatever the fuck you want. We have rights here. The police don't have unlimited rights to do whatever they want. The constitutional party, the don't tread on me party, is like, tread all over us. And it's the democratic socialists who are standing up and demanding that our rights be protected. And by the way, who was it exactly that Hitler called the enemy? Who were his political enemies? Was it the progressive democratic socialists? Was it the communists that he consistently called his enemy? Oh, it was. You guys, how is it that you have the same enemy, the same rhetoric, the same talking points, the same private army, same common enemies? Please provide some daylight between you and the Nazis so I can stop saying this. I don't like saying it. I've been doing this for a while, and I didn't call you guys Nazis until now. Now that you guys are doing like Nazi shit. I tried to give you the benefit of the doubt. I was like, yeah, some of this sounds like Nazi shit, but they haven't done the Nazi shit yet. And then you just started doing the Nazi shit. You're like, stop calling us that. Stop doing Nazi shit.
This order is a sweeping reaffirmation of our commitment to our immigrant neighbors and to public safety as a whole. We will make it clear once again that ICE will not be able to enter New York City property without a judicial warrant. That means our schools, our shelters, and our hospitals. That means we will protect New Yorkers' private data from being unlawfully accessed by the federal government and stand firmly against any effort to intrude on our privacy. No New Yorker should be afraid to apply for city services like childcare because they are an immigrant.
Guys, check out DJ merchandise. Your entire delusional democratic socialist ideas break when you talk to a real socialist who escaped communism. Were you a communist or a socialist that escaped communism? Where did you escape communism? I'll look for your answer there, DJ Merchandise. Tell me what country you escaped communism from.
This order mandates that essential city agencies are complying with city laws and directs them to conduct thorough audits of all policies guiding agency interactions with immigration authorities. And it will establish an interagency response committee so that in the event of a major crisis, we are ready and equipped to do the job of protecting New Yorkers.
To be fair, Marx used socialism and communism interchangeably. True, but this one was that was weird how they framed that. I'm just curious which country you fled there. Well, I look forward to your response. Conservatives have never won any war or conflict, not domestically or internationally. That's true. You guys you did lose the Civil War. Conservatives lost the Civil War. Cue the chat saying, "No, it's the Democrats," because you don't know how any of this shit works. But yeah, the conservatives are who lost the Civil War. The conservatives were the American Nazis in World War II, the people in America that didn't want to go to World War II because they sided with Hitler. Those were the conservatives. And chat, what was their, I always forget, chat, what was the American Nazi Party's slogan? What was their slogan? I can't remember. There was something that they would like chant and they would put on signs. Can anybody remind me what that was? I always forget what it is. Chat, what was it? Oh, yeah, America first. Yeah, it's America first. Why are you guys still in the Nazis' taglines? What you doing that for? Where'd our boy go that escaped communism? Thank you, Danielle. Exactly. Communism by definition is stateless, classless, and moneyless society, which means there cannot be a government, meaning you cannot escape a communist government. You could escape a government who calls themselves communist, but that in and of itself is not actually communism, and democratic socialism certainly isn't communism, but you guys are just afraid of words. And you know who else convinced dumbass motherfuckers that socialists were scary? Hitler. Yeah, the Nazis. They fucking hated the socialists. That was the enemy of the Nazis. And you know who in America hated the socialists? The American Nazi Party. Weird. I asked you to create distance between yourselves and the Nazis, and you keep making more compelling arguments that you are indeed Nazis. Weird, right? All right. I want to show you this. This is Liz Oyer. If any of you, we've shown some of her clips before, but Liz Oyer is a former DOJ attorney who quit her job. She has a Substack, one of the few people I subscribe to. It's Lawyer Oyer. These are 7 recent developments that should alarm every one of us, and it will alarm many of us, but MAGA will not be alarmed by this. That's happening inside the DOJ that are unparalleled, unheard of, and MAGA is unbothered.
Hey everybody. The Justice Department is in shambles. It has essentially become a political propaganda arm of the president, but with the powers of law enforcement, which is very dangerous and very scary. I want to review some important developments. I'm Liz Oyer, the former pardon attorney for the Department of Justice. Here are 7 things the Justice Department has done just this past month that are truly extraordinary and alarming. 1, it's using law enforcement powers to interfere with free elections. In January, the FBI raided an election office in Georgia and seized the ballots from the 2020 election, which Donald Trump still claims he won. DOJ has also sued 24 states for access to confidential voter data. No one knows exactly what they're doing with this information, but it's not good. 2, DOJ is using law enforcement.
MAGA, could you tell me why they are suing for voter rolls? Not your guess. What have they told you? Why are they suing for the voter rolls? I would like to know that you guys don't just blindly support things. So let's pause this for a second, and I want to know if any of you know why they're suing for voter rolls. Good point, Asta Sophia. Don't forget the slogan, "Make America Great Again." The German Nazis said, "Make Germany Great Again." Yeah. We know. Okay, what fraud would you uncover? Thank you, behind the scenes. What fraud could you uncover by getting the voter rolls? What fraud would be there? Because the machines are fake and false voters. That hasn't. The machines have nothing to do with voter rolls. Because we have a great deal of evidence that fraud took place in Georgia, already admitted that several 100,000 votes were improper. That's not true. What Georgia determined is that the printouts from the machines weren't all signed. And in fact, the audits have been done, and those votes were properly counted. They just forgot to sign the paper. So we can try that again. All Dem politicians are cheating. God, you guys are dumb. Voter rolls to prove what point? You can't vote if you're not a citizen of this country already. There's audits of every single state. They audit these states or they audit the rolls all the time. So you don't know. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Enforcement powers to silence journalists. They searched the home of a Washington Post reporter and seized her phone and laptop, even though she wasn't suspected of any crime.
Remember that one? Remember when the FBI went to a journalist's house and stole her phone and laptop with no evidence of a crime? Just had her rights violated? How's that work?
Prosecuting 2 journalists for reporting on a protest in Minnesota. These are attacks on free speech and a free press. 3, DOJ is attacking judges and refusing to follow their orders. The conservative chief judge in Minnesota actually threatened to hold the government in contempt of court for violating dozens of court orders in just a few weeks. And this is happening.
You keep saying, like, after all this illegality, there have been, Donald Trump has taken these to court. I don't even know. I don't even know I do this every fucking day. Like, this is this is like me and Steph Curry are having a 3-point competition. And we're like, we're each going to take 67 shots. And whichever one of us makes the most threes is the better shooter. And Steph Curry makes 65 out of 67. And I make 0 out of 67. And I start saying, I won. That's how fucking stupid you sound, because there were 67 court cases and Donald Trump lost every fucking one of them. That's how dumb you sound to normal people that aren't as dumb and in a cult as you. You are 0 for 67, claiming that the fact that you literally lose every fucking time is evidence that you are correct. That is a special kind of stupid. That is, it's like a kind of stupid that I wouldn't wish on anybody. That is just rewriting reality to fit your narrative.
All over the country. 4, DOJ is refusing to investigate federal agents even when they kill civilians. We saw that in the cases of Renee Good and Alex Preddy. DOJ is investigating the victims, their families, and basically everyone but...
How are you saying, what are you talking about, Charlie Golf? What do you mean? No one's going to change. I've moved past logical arguments into ad hominem. That's not a logical argument. My argument is you've lost every fucking court case and you still think that there is fraud. That the ad hominem comes after that, and it's just an insult. I want to be clear. It's not ad hom. It's just an insult. I have given you direct evidence that you haven't proven any fraud, and then I call you stupid. Use words correctly, please.
The actual killers. 5, DOJ is ramping up its investigations of enemies of Donald Trump. They're now investigating Jerome Powell, the Fed chairman, because he wouldn't lower interest rates. DOJ actually has a weaponization working group, which is reportedly aiming to deliver heads on a stick in the next 2 months. 6, DOJ has abandoned its legal duty to protect victims of crime. The failure to redact information about hundreds of Jeffrey Epstein's victims was one of the biggest betrayals of crime victims in history. 7, prosecutors and FBI agents are quitting en masse because they're being asked to compromise.
The fuck? Just like walked up to my window and looked in here. It was bizarre. Fuck is that guy?
Their ethics and integrity. Those who remain are pushed to the breaking point. They're doing so much immigration work that they can't focus on stuff that matters, like stopping terrorism, cyber attacks, and fraud. Experts are warning that this puts us all in danger. The Justice Department is in crisis. It has lost all credibility. It has lost sight of its mission. It's prioritizing politics over public safety. This is not a Democrat versus Republican issue. It should alarm every single one of us. Congress has the authority to hold DOJ accountable through investigations and hearings. We need Congress to step up. Please share and please ask your reps to restore justice to DOJ.
There's video after video showing fraud in Georgia. No, there's videos that you think show fraud in Georgia, but there's not any videos that show fraud in Georgia. You just clearly can't identify what fraud is. What videos are you talking about? What are the videos in Georgia that show fraud? I think I've seen the guy. I think it was just a neighbor. I think he just thought maybe somebody else. Don't worry about the guy that looked in my window. I think I've seen him before. What was the video of fraud? We'll pull it up here. I'll even show the video. Show him my butt. I don't want to impress him too much. Henry Vosen said, like when people on Trump's campaign team were found guilty of Russian collusion. Yeah, remember that? Remember when Trump's campaign manager pled guilty to working with Russia? Remember that? Remember when he, before he was Trump's campaign manager, he was working in Ukraine on behalf of Russia, trying to convince Ukrainian citizens to change their loyalty to Russia in Crimea. Remember that? Remember how that was his job before he was Trump's campaign manager? He worked literally for Russia to sow discord in Ukraine. Remember that? Great, GSP. We are the good people. Great. I look forward to you finding the title there. I'll wait for a second. I got invited to the cookout? Fuck yeah. Thank you. I want to be at the cookout. I'll bring the potato salad. The Orange Man Bad thing, you're too late on that. The Orange Man Bad thing doesn't work anymore. He's been convicted of crimes. It's crazy. Will I run for 2028? I run every day. Thank you. Are you saying, will I run for office? No. I have no desire to run for office. Maybe someday. There was a time a few years ago, I was actually planning on running. And I've got a daughter. I would like the reality is like I'm not going to drag my daughter into this political climate, and I don't think as somebody like I was planning on running for Congress. I don't think as somebody running for Congress that's the best use of my time. Do we have the name? Where was the GSP? If you put the title of the video there that I'll pull up for you, do it again because the chat's moving quickly. But I'd be happy to show it. You have it yet? Don't forget the salt. Salt? No. Potato salad is just potatoes, Miracle Whip, and you can do craisins or raisins. But yeah, you don't want to mess it up. Don't fuck with the flavors. Don't be putting in spices and shit. It's too spicy for me. Salt's too spicy. Nothing from GSP. All right, GSP. Sorry, I'm going to move on. Let a mod know if you get it. Just you have permission to write in all caps when you get it. Mods, will you look for GSP when he puts that in there? And if he has the title of a video, I'll pull it up. But I don't want to sit here and wait while they're looking. I want to talk about this. There's an announcement from the Trump administration now, and this is just part of Project 2025. And this was the part of Project 2025 2 years ago that I was focused on the most. And this was the part that scared me the most. What I was most nervous about is taking these agencies that work underneath the president and turning them into political entities that report to nobody. And we finally have the announcement going into midterm election season. And I'll be as alarmist as I can accurately be here. They are going to try and steal the election, and I'm going to explain what they're doing to prepare for that. Number one, they're seizing voter rolls, and they're seizing voter rolls for a reason that we're not sure yet. We can only guess because they haven't told us. The warrant that they have from Georgia is sealed, so there's not a single Trump person in here or me that can accurately tell you what their evidence was for seizing those voter rolls. We can only guess. But what we can tell you is that there is a written out plan of how they plan to manipulate elections, and now they're announcing it.
So the Office of Personnel Management released a final rule today that makes it easier to fire government employees who are not doing their job, basically. Does the president believe that there are people in his government still that are not following his agenda?
That's a good question. I have not
asked him about that. I mean, look, it's a very big government, right? There are thousands of people who work for the federal government here in Washington, D.C. This administration has been very much focused on ensuring that we have an efficient and productive workforce for the American taxpayer. There's not a day that goes by where we don't show up and realize we are public servants working on behalf of the American people, and everybody in the federal government best have that mindset, or they won't be welcome to work for this administration. So I think it's a good thing that the Office of Personnel Management put this rule out. I think if people aren't doing their jobs, if they aren't showing up for work, if they're not working hard on behalf of this president, they're not welcome to work for him at all.
All right. Now, I want to just level set here before I get on to the rest of this part. First, Lee said, supporting good trouble. Thank you. Jamar said, F, marry, kill, older millennial, Mr. Jones, an old, incoherent guy that always jumps into Admir's lives. Sorry, not sorry. Fuck, man. Well, Mr. Jones already got banished, right? So he's gone. Probably gonna fuck older millennial because he's got nice tits. I can't remember the old incoherent guy, but he seems old and incoherent, so I can manage marrying him. And let's just say banish because these are real people, and I don't wish death on anybody. So we're gonna say banish Mr. Jones. He can stay away, but could be hoodie, yeah. All right. I want to check with MAGA here, and please only respond to this if you're MAGA. I want to ask you a couple questions about just simply your opinions on voter security. Do you think just thumbs up or thumbs down if you think you should have to be a citizen to vote in federal elections? Should it be a requirement that you are a citizen of the United States to vote in federal elections? Thumbs up. Again, MAGA only. Thumbs up if you think yes. Thumbs down if you think no. A little tough with the, I've seen yeses and thumbs up. Okay, cool. On the same thing. Do you thumbs up if you think that we should be allowed to vote by mail? Thumbs up or thumbs down? Thumbs up if you think voting by mail should be allowed. Thumbs down if you think it should not be allowed. You can't be serious. What? Can't be serious about what? I'm asking questions here. I'm trying to get your opinion on things. No? Some of you say yes. Okay, split on that one. Great. No problem. I expected a split on that. That's fair. Thumbs up if you think we should allow more money into elections or less money. Like, do you think people should be able to donate more money or less money for elections? Both corporate. Let's start with individuals. Should there be a limit on how much individuals can give in elections? Thumbs up if you think there should be a limit on how much people can give for elections. Thumbs down if you don't think so. And again, just MAGA here. And I apologize that I'm singling out MAGA, but thumbs up if you think there should be a limit. Thumbs down if you think there should not. Okay, mostly thumbs up, couple thumbs downs, shrugs. Maybe some of you don't care. Okay, do you think, now this one, thumbs up if you think the current limit should be raised, or thumbs down if you think the current limit should be dropped. I think the current limit is basically like once you account for super PACs, it winds up being like $90,000-ish. Do you think that should go up? Thumbs up if you think they should be allowed to give more, or thumbs down if you think it should be less? Lowered. Okay. Money's always been the problem. Duh. All right. Thumbs up if you agree with this statement. We should get money, private money out of elections. Thumbs up if you agree with that. Thumbs down if you disagree with that. Couple thumbs down on that last one, okay? So you guys all think it should go down. Everybody basically says it go down. Do you think we should remove it entirely? Thumbs up if you think we should get money out of elections entirely. Thumbs down if you think that we should leave it in. Thumbs up. Most of you are thumbs up. Couple thumbs downs. Okay. Do I have any other questions? I think we agree on most of this, by the way. Okay. Thumbs up if you think elections are more free if you allow people to give the current limit, which is 98,000. Thumbs down if you think that makes our elections less free. Thumbs up if you think it makes it more free. Thumbs down if less free. Okay. Mostly thumbs down. Okay. Now, I'm going to read through what Caroline Levitt was talking about here. I'm going to read through the plan that the Trump administration has put out. And I want you to remember your answers. And then I want you just to think for yourself, do I align with these proposed changes, or do I not align with these proposed changes? I think some of you are going to be a little bit surprised. Now, the plan that they are following is from Project 2025, which, fair enough, if you didn't know Project 2025 was going to be legitimate, it has turned out to be legitimate. They've admitted that it's legitimate. The people who wrote Project 2025 and each chapter, like, literally are the heads of these agencies. So it was their plan all along. This part of the plan that Caroline Levitt just talked about, these new rules of making it easier to fire career federal employees if they don't align with the president's interest, was in Project 2025. That's where we first came across that idea. They did some of these firings in the first Trump administration. They tried to do this with Schedule F, and they are continuing on that now. So the first thing that they wanted to do was pack the FEC. So in Project 2025, they didn't say get rid of the FEC, which is the Federal Election Commission. What they said instead is that they want to stack it with the commissioners who oppose aggressive enforcement. So the way the FEC works is there are 3 Republicans and 3 Democrats. And the Democrats get to pick 3, and then the president obviously gets to pick their 3. And in order for any change to exist, you need 4 votes. So no matter what change you see at the FEC, you are going to need 4 votes, right? That's the way that it's currently structured now. So if you want to be able to change that, what you need to be able to do is you need to be able to get 4 votes. One way that you could do that is having them be at-will employees, meaning you just fire anybody who doesn't want to go along. If you were a corrupt administration, let's say Joe Biden wanted to steal the 2024 election, what Joe Biden could have done is he could have installed loyalists with his 3, and he could have fired the other 3. And then you have one of 2 options. Either those positions will be filled by Democrats and you can just keep firing them, or you can leave it with just your 3 and it's vacant and you can't pass anything. And then you have to decide, like, how are you going to enforce things at the FEC? If you do that, and if you install loyalists, and if you refuse to vote to enforce the laws, then you don't have to enforce the laws. So according to Project 2025, what they wanted to do is they wanted to have an FEC that did nothing. That they would not enforce the laws. Specifically, the FEC, what they do, one of the main things they do is they enforce campaign finance laws. They make sure that people aren't giving above the limit. They make sure that the limits that we've set are met. You can look here. This is from Crew. Here we go. So Project 2025 calls for raising the limits on what individuals can give directly to candidates, which would give big donors in politics even more power and influence. Specifically, it says, and here's a quote, contribution limits should generally be much higher as they hamstring candidates and parties while serving no practical anti-corruption purpose. Now, looking back to the poll that we took, and those of you who were doing thumbs up and thumbs down, the overwhelming majority of you said that contribution limits should go down, and most of you also said we should get money out entirely. So I just want to point out real quick that not that you have to abandon your support, but the administration that you currently support is advocating that we remove the limits and that we don't enforce the limits. And they said specifically that by having limits, it hamstrings candidates and serves no practical anti-corruption purpose. How do we feel about that? We'll keep going. In the 2024 election, individuals can donate $3,300 per election, $6,600 for the primary and general election combined, directly to candidates, and additional $371,000 to a party committee such as the Republican National Committee or Democratic Senatorial Campaign Committee. Through vehicles like joint fundraising committees that allow candidates to give multiple candidates or committees at one time, donors, when you combine that, can give even more. For example, one person could write an $824,600 check to the Trump Joint Fundraising Committee. This is directly against what you all said that you believe in. And again, poll your support or not, this is corruption. And before I told you that this administration was doing this, you agreed with me. It'll be interesting to see if you still agree now, but it seems like they're doing the exact opposite. And it seems like all of you agreed that it was corruption. How do you feel now? In the 2022 cycle, just 0.1% of people in the United States donated more than $2,900. Tiny fraction that shows just how elite these contributors are. This proposal to make these limits much higher will only give big donors more power over the policy-making process and further drown out the voices of average Americans. This doesn't seem like a for the people kind of move. This doesn't seem like an administration that's out working for you. This seems like an administration that wants bribes. I agree with that, Locke. Most countries don't allow this, like money. Most countries that have free, good elections, the elections are paid for with taxes, and you basically have debates. You have primaries, you have debates. You don't have commercials. You don't have to have a jet and a bus and fly all over the country. It's not big parties all the time. It's just simple, like, here's the policy. We've allowed politicians essentially to turn themselves into rock stars. And the campaign finance rules are so murky that people get legitimately rich off of running for office now. And a lot of times they leave cities and towns holding the bill. Tucson, I think, still has not been reimbursed by Donald Trump. Something like a couple $100,000 that he's never paid. And that's not just Trump. Like, this happens with campaigns all the time, where they wind up paying for services, the city fronts it, and then the campaign never pays, and now the city has budget deficits. Over the years, the structure has mostly given Republican commissioners the ability to block or stop enforcement of our campaign finance laws, even when the nonpartisan attorneys or staff still think it's merited. This is referring to the FEC here. 4 votes are needed to launch an investigation or take further action. For example, by the FEC's own accounting of the 451 enforcement matters considered between April 1st of 2019 and May 1st of 2023, 64% featured at least one split vote, which leads to inaction. In fact, the FEC has barely opened any cases in the past year, and as of May 23rd, the Office of General Counsel was only conducting 3 investigations. They're doing nothing. When they tell you that they're gutting the government to save you money, what they really mean is they're gutting the government to make it so that it can't act, so that it can't enforce certain policies. As of December 2023, the FEC has received 59 allegations that Donald Trump or his committees violated the Federal Election Campaign Act. Now, who's to say if those were legitimate or not? But in 29 of those cases, nonpartisan staff in the FEC's Office of General Counsel recommended the FEC investigate Trump. Yet not once has a Republican FEC commissioner voted to approve any such investigation or enforcement of law against Trump. So the lawyers for these commissioners, the ones that are responsible for determining whether or not what they're doing is lawful, out of the 59 allegations, 29 of those, the lawyers, who are nonpartisan, have said this warrants an investigation. And out of those 29, the Trump loyalists that he has placed in the FEC have investigated 0. Project 2025 also encourages the president to instruct the DOJ. Now, this is where it gets fucking dark. Which is responsible for criminal enforcement of campaign finance law, and the Attorney General to defer to the FEC's interpretation of campaign finance law and enforcement precedents. Think of how silly this is. The Department of Justice is responsible for enforcing the law. However, under this administration, What Donald Trump has instructed the Department of Justice, Pam Bondi, is that you cannot investigate them. You have to rely on them to tell you when you should investigate them. How's that for corruption? We warned you. You can go back years. We did entire episodes on this. Exactly what we claimed would happen is that I must have said this a million times in any debate. I said if Trump won, he would take the FEC, the FTC, and the FCC, and he would remove oversight by saying that that those departments alone can determine whether or not they be investigated. There is no scenario where that makes any fucking sense. Can you give me an explanation for why they would do that? Why they would suggest it, even if you don't believe that they're doing it? The people that wrote the chapters in Project 2025 that said this is what we should do are the people in these roles. They actually got the jobs for the chapters that they wrote. Isn't that what you demon rats did? No, that's not. I just gave you the evidence that they didn't do that. That's up here. By the FEC's own accounting, of the 454 enforcement matters considered between April 1st of 2019 and May 1st of 2023, so that's the Trump administration and the Biden administration, 64% featured at least one split vote. They did 451 enforcement matters. This administration has done 0. They refuse to do anything. So yeah, Snowther Pro. Both sides did it. No, not both sides did it. One fucking side is doing it. See, this is why I talk about you fucking fence sitters. Just let go of Donald Trump's dick. Let it go. Be a human being who looks at the evidence objectively and not through Donald Trump colored glasses. This is undeniable. They are doing fucking nothing. The lawyers are telling them that the law is being broken and they're doing fucking nothing about it. It's not both sides. No president has ever done this. Nobody. That's why Project 2025, when we told you, like, the problem with Project 2025 is you can do it. The problem with Project 2025 is that they have figured out loopholes. And those loopholes you can exploit so long as Congress sits on their hands and refuses to act against you, which Congress is doing. This is the only time this has ever happened. It was written down as a plan. And it's getting tiresome to watch you folks tie yourselves up in knots, saying shit that you don't know, like everybody does it, just to not have to address it in your own minds. I would implore all of you to find a spine. Just look inside of you and say, am I being objective about this? Or am I just saying shit that makes me feel a little better so I don't have to pay attention to this? Thanks for joining the Dollar Train. Bean says, have you seen the video of the boy with the painted face in the Epstein files? These poor kids and no one is doing anything. I don't think so. Michelle, thank you. And I read that one. Check here. Damien said, beautiful day in Arizona. Have a good weekend. And don't think for one second, Damien, that I didn't notice that 420 donation. Currently on a month of no 420, so it hurts my feelings, but we're good. Project 2025 also encourages the president to instruct the DOJ, which is responsible for criminal enforcement of campaign finance law, and the attorney general, to infer to the FEC's interpretation. The FEC is known for its deadlocks, or when no position gains 4 votes on key enforcement matters. This ends investigations or leaves ambiguity in the law, even when the career nonpartisan staff at the agency think action is necessary. These decisions not only let people off the hook for breaking the law, they also encourage bad actors to take advantage of the lack of clarity from the commission. To address these issues, House and Senate Democrats included changes to the agency's structure in the For the People Act to modernize the agency and strengthen enforcement. So after Project 2025 came out, there were people that reacted to this, and they tried to pass the For the People Act. And the For the People Act does, where is it? Where do I have the breakdown there? Hold on one second. Didn't I have the... Where's my link? Let me see if I can get my history. I must not have added it. Hold on one sec. Sorry about that. I think it's here. Here it is. Sorry, I didn't have it on my outline here. What the voting, the For the People Act, and there's going to be some split votes on this, but I just want to point out that the For the People Act would have been supported by the majority of Republicans who took our little poll here. One, that you would have automatic and online registration, which requires states to automatically register eligible voters when they interact with certain agencies like the DMV. I don't think we covered that, and I think most Republicans are probably against that. Same day and expanded registration. So it would have given mandates for same-day registration in federal elections and add safeguards against improper vote list purges and voter caging. So same-day registration would require you on the day of voting, you could register. You'd have to show up with proper documentation, which would be in almost every single state, some Social Security and birth certificate. If you added voter ID laws to your state where you had to have a photo ID, it would also include that. But that way, if somebody on the day of the election was like, fuck, I didn't register, that would allow them to vote and make sure that everybody can be able to vote. It would give early voting and mail-in voting, which the majority of you guys were fans of, but it would require 15 days of early in-person voting and expands access to voting by mail, including prepaid postage and ballot tracking systems. So not only would you get your ballot, but you could track it, and no more guessing when you send your ballot in, like, did it get counted, did it not? You would have transparency on where it is. It would also restore voting rights in federal elections to citizens who have completed felony sentences and bar states from using voter purge practices that disproportionately target minorities. So, I mean, in some of these states, Donald Trump couldn't vote. So thank you, Democrats, for restoring Donald Trump's right to vote. And then the most important one, in my opinion, is requiring states to use independent redistricting commissions, ending gerrymandering once and for all. Have an independent redistricting board that determines what your districts look like, so we don't have to deal with gerrymandering anymore, which was a fucking nightmare this year, because it was like every Democrats and Republicans were all just gerrymandering, and then we're bickering at each other like, everybody, you're gerrymandering. No, you're gerrymandering. Yeah, everybody was gerrymandering. We should just not gerrymander. So that would have taken care of that. Of course, that was turned down. It also would have capped a lot of these campaign finance issues. So for one, you'd have transparency and foreign money bans. No money coming from foreign governments or foreign donors. It would expand disclosure on your political spending. So if you do raise money, we would have to have itemized reports on what you're spending your money on. It would close loopholes, again, for money coming from overseas, and require campaigns to report any contacts that they had with foreign governments. It would require, like, the online ads that you see to have disclaimers and political record requirements, so that, again, you can't have, like, China or Russia or Venezuela or France running political ads in our country trying to influence our elections. All of that sounds good. It would create a small dollar matching program for congressional and presidential candidates, amplifying small contributions with public funds. So in order to match your voice with other voices, perhaps if you give $10, you would have some sort of matching program, and so that people with more money don't have an outsized voice when they give. Super PAC coordination, it would tighten those rules and limit super PACs being able to coordinate with each other. a lot of times what in elections, what they do is you have all these super PACs, you can give all this money, and then they're really just one super PAC, but they create so many so that you can donate to multiple, and then they just work together. So it would have taken care of that, which most of you Republicans would have been on board for. And then it revises the FEC structure and enforcement powers so that the FEC is more effective, less gridlocked, and less partisan, which sounds like a good thing to me. We can skip the rest of that. But of course, that didn't pass because Republicans want to spend more money in elections. Is there any other part? Other parts of the Project 2025 that we're seeing coming out of the Trump administration is in politicizing the DOJ. Like we said, they will not investigate any of these crimes. And specifically, the way that they did it is they moved election crime authority, the people responsible for investigating the FEC or any election crimes, from the Civil Rights Division to the Criminal Division, which is directly under the DOJ. And that allows them to target whoever the fuck they want and cannot target any election activity unless the FEC tells them that they can. This is like, I don't care what your politics is. This is the Trump administration saying, we're not going to investigate this. Like, imagine for a second that Donald Trump is corrupt. I know that's crazy, but just imagine whoever it is, whatever politician you hate the most. Imagine it's Gavin Newsom, Jasmine Crockett, Ilhan Omar. Imagine Ilhan Omar is president right now and she's running for re-election. And you find out that the group of people responsible for making sure that she is running a clean election cannot be investigated. Imagine that. Imagine your outrage if you knew that President Ilhan Omar, the agency responsible for making sure that she didn't cheat, was not allowed to be investigated. How would you feel about that? Any answers there? Oh, you guys are just playing what? You guys are just playing let's not talk about this? Holy shit. You guys are going out of your way not to pay attention, aren't you? Yeah, look, Windwalker, that's not what we're talking about right now, bud. With all due respect. Could you respond to what we're talking about here? People who aren't citizens are not voting. It's less than like 100 every election. Can you pay attention to this? Could you respond to this? The part where there's no oversight on our elections right now? It seems like the reason you don't want to address this is because you don't really care because it's Trump. Windwalker, I'm going to mute you if you don't stay on topic, okay? Respond to what I'm saying right now. Windwalker, are you concerned that there is no agency that is being held responsible for having clean elections? It's your only chance, bud. You got to answer my question. You're not derailing. I'm a brown person. Don't care. Answer my fucking question. Are you concerned that the agency that ensures free elections is not investigating anything? We'll start banning these motherfuckers. We may stop it and just ban you guys for not answering questions. Got 10 seconds. 10, 9. What's a nice theory? Have a good day, Windwalker. Somebody take care of Windwalker. 24-hour mute for Windwalker. Come back when you're not a pussy. Appreciate that. How come none of you guys can answer questions? How come? You guys want to stand up for your boy Windwalker there? Breaking the bots. We might be. I do not understand. All right, you're answering for him, Robert Cooper. You answer for him. Thank you. Robert Cooper's going to answer for him. Robert Cooper, are you concerned that the FEC is now its own agency and gets to decide whether or not they get investigated? We have you just, I'm asking you again. You are concerned by that. Okay, thank you. I appreciate. Oh, not at all. Oh, okay. All right. Shocker. Would it concern you if Ilhan Omar was president? Robert, if Ilhan Omar was president right now and the FEC was determining whether or not they could be investigated, would that concern you? You have to answer this question. You can't ignore the hypothetical, by the way. You have to answer this question, or else I have to get rid of you too. No, I would leave. I appreciate it. See? Thank you, Robert. They're honest. They do not care about the law. They care only about winning. Appreciate that. Thank you for being honest, Robert. You can stay. But Jesus Christ, get it the fuck together, man. Stop being such a cucky little bitch. All right. The Project 2025's FCC chapter tells the agency to attack social media companies for removing election disinformation. So if a social, like on Facebook, if they put up something that's like, let's say the election's on November 4th, and there's this big campaign, everybody to make sure to go vote on November 5th. If then the like Facebook were to take that down, the FCC would go after Facebook for removing misinformation. Interesting, right? The other thing they want to do is they have basically dismantled CISA. And if you've watched any congressional hearings recently, you know that dismantling CISA is alarming for a lot of people. And the FBI's election disinformation work. Project 2025 ensures that false narratives about voting, rigging, and fraud can flood online with no coordinated federal pushback. That feeds harassment of election officials, normalizes big lies, things like what Rudy Giuliani did to those two women in Georgia that he wound up losing his lawsuit for. They want you to harass poll workers. They want you to flood the zone with shit because it's their only chance of winning. Imagine an administration going out of their way now to have unlimited amounts of money, no oversight, and forcing social media companies to allow obvious lies. Forcing them to allow obvious lies. That sounds like an administration who is planning to do some fuckery. That doesn't sound like an administration that's about law and order. It doesn't sound like an administration that's all for transparency. That sounds like pure fuckery to me. They have basically gutted CISA. CISA is essentially inactive. That's by the cybersecurity. What is it? Cybersecurity and infrastructure. Internet, cyber. It's either internet or infrastructure. Let's see. Whoops. What is CISA? Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency. It's basically been gutted. They're sitting around doing virtually nothing. Yeah, it's all about cheating. They are going to try and steal this election. They will do anything in their power to cheat. And it's what's not alarming anymore, but what is sad is watching MAGA just like be okay with it. If you can get them to have a conversation and discuss it, they will realize that this is cheating, but they won't care. They will say, like, they'll call you a liar, they'll say it's fake news, and then when you prove that it's not, they'll just be like, I don't really care. Cascus says, Gen C PM for RTP. Let's see. Have a great weekend. Touch grass, but no KGB. Thank you for keeping it truthful. I hope folks can just take a minute and listen openly. My weekly scam donation has been sent. Thank you. MC said, have you watched Vigilantes Inc. on YouTube? I have not, but I'm adding it to my list. Robin said, listening from Vegas today. Nice. I like Vegas. Talk about projection. See what I mean? See what I mean? None of this has ever happened before. This is the Trump administration's the only one. But this is how you dupe a bunch of people. You tell them over and over that the election was stolen. You provide them no evidence, but you just keep repeating it. I saw an interview today. In fact, I should have put it up here, but let's see if I can find it. What was the guy's name that did the Access Hollywood interview? Bush? Billy Bush? Is that his name? I want to show you a glimpse inside Trump. If any of you have read Art of the Deal, you already know this. But this is how Trump operates. And once you see this, I I would like you to self-reflect if you're capable. Trump says this in his own book. Multiple people have verified that he routinely says this. I would just ask you to think about the things that you believe that Trump has told you and determine, do I have evidence of this or do I just believe it? Here's Billy Bush.
The story that I love that I think is so indicative is when you called him on the ratings once. You said, because The Apprentice was like number 30 and he was saying it's number 1.
Well, he's been saying number 1 forever, right? And finally, I'd had enough. I said, wait, Donald, hold it. Wait a minute. You haven't been number 1 for like 5 years or 4 years, whatever it is, not in any category, not in any demo. He goes, well, did you see last Thursday? Last Thursday, 18 to 49, whatever, last 5 minutes or whatever. No, I don't know that stat. No, I can't. So he's like, I told you. And then later, after when the cameras are off, he says, he goes, Billy, look, you just tell them and they believe it. That's it. You just tell them and they believe. They just do.
It's talking about you. And you can see this repeated now. And we ask all the time, like, why do you guys always have to interpret? So he says, we're number 1 in the ratings. Billy Bush is like, no, you're not. And he goes, well, did you see the last 5 minutes of the episode last week? The last 5 minutes of the episode in the 18 to 49 demo, we were number 1. And what MAGA does, like, I don't understand, like, you got to realize how you're being programmed here. What they do is they start with the big lie that's an obvious lie, and most of the people believe it. And then when some of the people question it, you go, well, yeah, but it was in this part. So now there's a lot of people that just believe it. And if I were to say to them, he's not number 1, they'd be like, dude, you're fake news. And there's the dismissive people who just believe it and then they call it fake news and they won't engage. And then there's the people who engage. And the people that engage go, yeah, well, look, that's the thing. You can't take him literally. He was number 1 in this demographic. And then we might respond with, okay, but that's not being number 1. You understand why that's deceitful, right? And they're like, this is what you guys do. You just nitpick him over everything. Now, zoom out and look at the bigger picture. What is the bigger picture of him telling these types of lies? The overwhelming majority of people that watched him believed the lie. And the people that didn't believe the lie but still support him know that there's like an ounce of truth to it. And so you wind up with a movement entirely based on lies, and you have a small amount of people who justify the lies to justify to themselves their support, but the majority of them just plug their ears. And like that's how Donald Trump rose to power. Barack Obama wasn't born in America. Raise your hand, thumbs up, MAGA, if you believe Obama wasn't born in America. Thumbs up in the chat if you don't believe Obama was born in America. Or thumbs down if you believe he was. Yeah, J6, you're consistent. See? This is how like mass manipulation works. If you say things confidently enough, people who have a desire to believe you will believe you. That's how he got his start. Then he went in and he started lying about Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz's dad was involved in the JFK assassination. And he lied about Hillary Clinton. And the Hillary Clinton one is particularly painful because there was a scandal with Hillary Clinton's emails. And the scandal was that she was housing emails on her own private server. And we found out about it, and we know every single government email that was on her private server. And yet most Trump supporters don't know that. They don't know that we have accounted for every single email. We know what every single government email said. We know which emails were classified, and they have been entirely reviewed. But what Trump says is, where are they? We have to find them. What we're missing are her personal emails, which of course she can house on her private server. There is no law against a government official housing private emails on her server. So the crime was that she housed government emails on her server, but in order for those government emails to get to her server, they must first go through the government server, and there is a record of that. So there are 0 lost emails that we have any lawful right to get access to. You see how that works? But Trump, if he doesn't tell you that, if he just tells you the story that Hillary Clinton had classified emails on her server, and then she bleach bit her server, and we don't have all those emails. Where are those 30,000 emails? You don't get access to those. 33,000. Yeah, those are her personal emails. Do you think we have access to everybody in the government's personal emails? No. See how that works? It's the way that they just trick you into buying into some shit. Donald Trump's entire election team, his campaign manager, was literally working with Russia, coordinating messaging with Russia about the campaign. He pled guilty to working with Russia. And Donald Trump tells you it was a Russian collusion hoax because they never got me. There was no evidence against me. Well, if you go read the Mueller investigation, 1, there was evidence against him. But 2, the investigation was into any and all connections between the Trump campaign and Russia. It wasn't, did Donald Trump personally collude with Russia? That's not even what it was about. But Trump has been able to change that narrative into that was an investigation into me, and it was unjust. It was never an investigation into him. It was an investigation into his campaign, and his campaign manager and national security advisor both pled guilty, both admitted what they did. Steve Bannon has admitted what he did, but the crime took place in Europe, and he wasn't officially a member of the campaign, so it was a gray area, and he couldn't be charged. But Steve Bannon was collecting Facebook data and creating profiles in order to target what they perceived as potentially friendly Trump voters, and they were sharing that data with Russia so that Russia could create ads and target those same voters. And you can see they targeted them with the same type of shit we're talking about right now, the Hillary Clinton emails, the QAnon conspiracy stuff. They definitely did that. And Trump will still tell these people it was a hoax, and they will, to a T, say, Russia, Russia, Russia. They will repeat his phrase. That's how well he knows how to manipulate dumb people. He tells you half-truths. He gives you a phrase that you can repeat, and now you have completely closed your mind. You have already decided that there was no collusion with Russia, that there were no crimes committed, despite 37 indictments and multiple guilty pleas from members of his own staff who worked with Russia. And that's how we got to this point now, where you guys have gotten so used to being lied to, and when reality doesn't match what Trump says, you ignore reality instead, that now you've created your own little world. And in your own little world, everybody else is so corrupt that the laws now don't apply to you. And we have seen this historically happen over and over and over again. This pattern is easily recognizable for anybody who has come from an authoritarian state, from anybody who has come from a cult or a high-demand religion. This is a very discernible pattern. Tell the people the story, claim that the story is true, and that anybody who is telling you a different story is only telling that story because they hate you. So those people cannot be trusted to tell you the truth because they hate you. Therefore, what they are saying is the opposite of the truth. Don't even bother fact-checking it. Don't even bother looking into it. Doubt your doubts, not your faith. So when I share a story here, and I watch this in real time as somebody who escaped a cult, I watch this in real time, and I watch you doing the same shit that the people in my cult did. I can give you 100% verifiable evidence. And what you will say about me instead is that I just hate Trump, or I am biased, or I hate this country, or I am a communist, or I'm a socialist. I'm guessing if we look here, see, you just switched cults. That's what my cult said. When I left the cult, you know what they said? Oh, you're just being in the atheist cult now. That's what they all said about me. They said, and when I would criticize them, you know what they said? Why can't you just leave it alone? You can leave the church, but you can't leave it alone. You're obsessed. You just hate us succeeding. You're just miserable. That's why you attack us, because you're miserable. And then they turn their own people, my friends, my family, against me, because that's what happens when you exit the cult. And let me give you example after example after example. Mitt Romney. How do you guys feel about Mitt Romney? Give me your feelings on Mitt Romney here. Give me your feelings on Liz Cheney. Give me your feelings on Adam Kinzinger. Give me your feelings on Marjorie Taylor Greene. Give me your feelings on Thomas Massie. What do they all have in common? They criticize Trump. What do they all also have in common? They voted with him over 90% of the time. Almost everything he advocated for, they voted yes for. But their one grave sin was criticizing him. And now what? Exactly. He's a rhino. Traitors. You all operate in the same way. It's easily discernible. It's a pattern that we recognize. It's a pattern that like I know what you're going to say every fucking time. Why? Because you all sound the same. Why? Because you all have the same source. Who's that source? Donald Trump. You all literally have the same source, and it's just a guy. It's just a guy that you trust. And you trust him more than you trust your own eyes, your own brain, and data. Data is irrelevant to you. Yeah, it is time to stand up and take our country back. But we're going to need MAGA to get the fuck out of this cult. We're going to need you guys to start engaging, challenging your beliefs. I would love to see you guys do one time challenge a belief. See, there it is. Yet here you are trusting misinformation. See? Accuse them of what they're accusing you of. Don't address it. Don't address everything he just brought up. Let's do this. I want to prove this, and this will prove nothing to MAGA, but I want to show you what I'm talking about. I have not done this in a long time because everybody hates me when I do this, so I'm sorry. I want to talk about Mitt Romney. Now, if you're new here, you know when I was a Republican, I loved Mitt Romney. I worked on Mitt Romney's campaign, and I will say this, as far as a person goes, I do think that Mitt Romney, who grew up in the same cult as I did, and who is a very, very wealthy man, I find most of the things I find objectionable about Mitt Romney to be the same objectionable things I find about all of my friends and family that I grew up with. Indoctrination and a belief in systems and structures that have been proven to not work. But I want to play this speech because this is when Mitt Romney lost all of you. This is when Mitt Romney became the enemy to all of MAGA. And the reason I want to show this is because this was a speech he gave at the Hinckley Institute where he predicted how the Trump presidency would go. And he got everything right, and you still hate him. But I want to show it.
I'm not here to announce my candidacy for office, and I'm not going to endorse a candidate today. Instead, I'd like to offer my perspective on the nominating process of my party. Back in 1964, just days before the presidential election, which incidentally we lost, Ronald Reagan went on national television and challenged America saying that it was a time
Stacey said, can I get a go Hawks? Go Hawks.
for choosing. He saw two paths for America, one that embraced conservative principles dedicated to lifting people out of poverty and helping create opportunity for all, and the other, an oppressive government that would lead America down a darker, less free path. I'm no Ronald Reagan, and this is a different moment in time. But I believe with all my heart and soul that we face another time for choosing, one that'll have profound consequences for the Republican Party and, more importantly, for our country.
Do me a favor, too. Try not to get so mad at Mitt. I know a lot of you are going to hate this. I don't know exactly where the predictions start. We're watching this for the predictions. I understand that this bothers a lot of people.
I say this in part because of my conviction that America is poised to lead the world for another century.
See if I can get to it.
You may have seen Warren Buffett, Harris, and San Bernardino will be even better than our past. Explain why I say that. First, on the economy. If Donald Trump's plans were ever implemented, the country would sink into prolonged recession. A few examples. His proposed 35% tariff-like penalties would instigate a trade war, and that would raise prices for consumers.
True or false? Did Donald Trump's tariffs create a trade war that raised prices? True or false? Watch MAGA say false. Watch that. Now, it's true. See, there's J6. It's true. It happened. Okay, so 1 for 1.
Kill our export jobs.
Did export jobs go up or down? Down. 2 for 2.
Lead entrepreneurs and businesses of all stripes to flee America.
Did we have entrepreneurs, major manufacturing leave America? True. 3 for 3.
His tax plan, in combination with his refusal to reform entitlements and to honestly address spending, would balloon the deficit and the national debt.
True or false? Did his tax plan, which, by the way, includes the Biden years because we were under his tax plan, did it balloon the debt and increase deficit spending? Yes.
So even though Donald Trump...
See, watch the people saying false. This is what's crazy. Look at the jobs reports.
has offered very few specific economic plans.
There it is again. There, exactly. We could just predict the infamous viewing. Mitt Romney. Ha 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 ha. Exactly. They will attack the source, but not the information, because they are in a cult.
What little he has said is enough to know that he would be very bad for American workers and for American families. But you say, wait. Isn't he a huge business success? Doesn't he know what he's talking about? No, he isn't. And no, he doesn't.
Facts. And here comes Abe to distract. Abe's going to talk about my feelings because Abe can't address any of these concerns. And Abe is doing exactly what we said he would do. I told you, we'll play this video, we'll talk about facts, and the cultists will attack me, and they will attack him. They will attack everything but the information because they can't, because they operate in a cult. Good to see you, Abe.
Look, his bankruptcies have crushed small businesses and the men and women who work for them. He inherited his business. He didn't create it. And whatever happened to Trump Airlines? How about Trump University? And then there's Trump Magazine and Trump Vodka and Trump Steaks and Trump Mortgage. A business genius he is not. Now, not every policy that Donald Trump has floated is bad, of course. He wants to repeal and replace Obamacare. He wants to bring jobs home.
That was bad. He did do that, and it raised prices on healthcare faster than they were raising before.
From China and Japan. But his prescriptions to do those things are flimsy at best. At the last debate, all he could remember about his health care plan was to remove insurance boundaries between states. Successfully bringing jobs...
Where is his health care plan? We still don't have one. The plan was, we're going to take you off auto pay. That'll fix it.
Requires serious policy and reforms that make America the place businesses want to come, want to plant, and want to grow. You can't punish business into doing what you want. Frankly, the only serious policy proposal.
There we go. Here's Rosal doing exactly what we said they would do. Your premise is all screwed. Hinckley Institute is a liberal institution. Yeah, see? Neoliberal, neocon entity. See? They will attack the source. They will attack the institution. What they won't do is attack the arguments. Thank you, Rosal, for doing it. I mean, guys, how many more fucking times do I have to predict what you're going to do and then you fucking do it again? You can't get your news from big media companies. See? Not a single refutation of what he said, just attacks on the people.
Proposals that deal with a broad range of national challenges we confront today come from Ted Cruz, Marco Rubio, and John Kasich. One of these men should be our nominee. Now, I know that some people want this race to be over. They look at history and...
All right, now he's just going to get into politics, but that's why you hate him, and he was right. His predictions came true. You hate him, you think he's wrong, you think he's a rhino, you think he's whatever, but he was right about Trump. So his warnings about Donald Trump come true, and it makes you hate him more. None of you cared. None of you cared that he was right. That's why we say cult. There is nothing that Donald Trump can do to lose your support. He's fucking over the economy. He's literally stealing from the government right in front of you. These mass deportations are costing us a fortune, and the end result will be larger deficits. He's killed our international trade. Remember 90 trade deals in 90 days? Republicans only. Trump said I would have 90 trade deals in 90 days. How many trade deals do we have completed? Okay, let me just ask you this. How many not even completed. How many trade deals do we have that are whether they're completed or pending completion? How many of those 90 trade deals do you think we have? Give me a number. MAGA only, please. I'll give you a hint. None of them are finalized. 0 are finalized. But how many trade deals do we have on paper? Out of 90. Come on, MAGA. MAGA only, please. 112. Great guess. Really good guess. 16. 16. What a failure. What a fucking epic failure. And you can't even blame Congress. You can't blame Democrats for that. Nobody is standing in the way. He has every ability to do trade deals, but he's such a terrible negotiator, and he's ruined these relationships to the point that nobody wants to sign new trade deals with us. So we have 16. Prices aren't coming down. Inflation's just hanging around at around 3%. Inflation's going so poorly that they've just started lying about it. They've just started saying, it's 1%, it's 2%. It's not. It's between 2.7 and 2.9, depending on how, like what period you're looking at. They just lie to you. What's the point? I could pull up which countries are the 16. I don't have that list. I could pull them up. I was looking at it earlier this morning. All right, moving on. Want to show you this. This is a soybean farmer, and this is a really interesting conversation that he had today on with Katie Tur. Now watch. I'm going to play this clip of a soybean farmer who doesn't work for any news organization, and the people in the chat are going to attack the news organization and call this fake news. I've said it, and somebody will still obligatorily reject this because of the news network.
Black Farmers Association, John Boyd Jr. Really good to have you, as always. How are things going?
Well, it's the worst times in American history since the 80s for farmers in this country. And that letter that they wrote, I think it was a good step in the right direction, but we sending the letter.
Oh, it says Trump lowered drug prices by 1,500%. Now we get paid to take medication. Belinda said, thanks for another great show. Appreciate it, guys.
To people who fail to do anything about the president's policies, which is our Congress. The president's tariffs, and you read a little bit of that letter that I don't agree with, is Biden didn't do this. Former President Obama didn't do this. These are the president's policies. These are his tariffs. In fact, the highest time I ever sold soybeans in my career, my 43-year career, was under President Obama for $18 a bushel. Under President Trump, I sold some of the lowest as $7 a bushel during his first presidency when he came in, and he done the same thing.
Professor Marvel, on this stream, we don't have we don't do fence sitters here. Okay, this both sidesism shit is fucking stupid. You address the concerns that we talk about. Nobody gives a fuck about your everybody's bad. Shut the fuck up. This is not a place for you. You can leave or you can engage in these conversations. But as much as I get annoyed with MAGA, you are worse, because like at least MAGA has like it stands for something. You're just in here going, everything's actually bad, guys. So just know, there's your one warning. We don't allow the both sidesism shit here. This isn't a place for you. It's not a free speech platform. We will remove you for being a bitch.
Tariffs against China. China buys most of U.S. grown soybeans. Canada, who's we rely on for fertilizer, and corn for Mexico that we sell, mostly U.S. grown corn. These are these president's policies that are ruining American agriculture. And then on top of that, he gave $40 billion. So he really sold out America's farmers and gave $40 billion to Argentina. And he promised us $12 billion in relief. So
how's that good? MAGA, let's stop for a second. Let's talk about soybeans. Donald Trump, in a trade war with China, has killed our soybean farmers. Then he bailed out Argentina, and then China bought the soybeans from Argentina, and then Donald Trump spent $12 billion and gave it to our farmers, which isn't even, it's $8 billion short of what they lost. Can you explain why that was a good move by him to create a trade war with China? How have we benefited from Donald Trump's tariffs on China? Want to explain it? $12 coffee is now $19. Yeah, remember when he slapped tariffs? Now tariffs, what Donald Trump said is tariffs were here to protect American jobs and American products, but we don't grow coffee in America, so why do we slap tariffs on coffee? I'm not crying about Argentina, and I don't know if that has all been repaid back yet. I realize I said it was a bailout to Argentina, and then they stole our contracts with China for soybeans. Get rid of Abe for 24 hours. Abe, shut the fuck up. I'm tired of you trying to derail everything. You guys want to explain it? No? Okay.
The president went down to Iowa last week and said, oh, I just gave farmers $12 billion. I want to tell all of the viewers that are watching this, the farmers have not received a dime of the $12 billion. And that's what the president does. He says things, and there's really no accountability. Black people love him, all these things. But you know, when I tried to attend the president's farm meeting that he had several weeks ago at the White House, there wasn't one black farmer.
That is true. You do grow good coffee in Hawaii, actually.
At the table. As a matter of fact, there wasn't one black person in the room. And they told me I couldn't attend the White House meeting, something about they were moving away from DEI. I'm talking to you from my farm. There's no DEI on my farm. You know, my cattle eat the same amount of hay. My tractor burns the same amount of diesel fuel, and I have to be able to produce a crop here just like everybody else.
I'm sorry, what? There was a farm meeting at the White House. You tried to go. Were you there physically? Did they turn you away at the door, or
When I was,
what
what I
happened?
heard, well, the farm community is a very small community. So people were telling me that there was going to be a farm meeting, and I reached out to the White House to attend, and that's the feedback that they got. In fact, they said they were moving away from the black farmer issue. They were moving away from DEI and the small farmer issue, and they were focusing on large-scale white farmers and corporate farmers because they produce the most food, is what this administration said. And they told me that they may come back in a couple of years and revisit the farmers of color issue, but right now that they were moving away from it. And where's the accountability? I'm a farmer just like anybody else. As a matter of fact, I'm a pretty good farmer. If I wasn't, I wouldn't be able to survive under this president's horrible policies that they're putting out there.
Were there other smaller farmers there?
Not that I know of, and you guys could verify exactly who was at the table. But from what I was told, that there wasn't a black person in the room, either in the audience or at the table. And this administration keeps saying that it's not about race, it's not about color. But the president brought in South African white farmers and gave them a fast path to citizenship and going to provide them with a homestead. All these things that they never done for a black person in this country. And they keep, this president has divided this country by the definition of race and made race relations in our country horrible at this time.
All right, we're going to look into those claims there about that meeting. John Boyd Jr., thanks so much for joining us. Always appreciate it.
It's interesting in this country that one of the debts that we owe that we have never paid is the debt of 40 acres and a mule. But and Republicans consistently say we can't do that. But if you got some persecuted white farmers from South Africa, come on over. We'll hook you up. You know who's doing well? You know which farmers are doing well? Corporate farms. Ones like that Scott Bessent purchased. Ones like the company that J.D. Vance owns, Acre Trader. And this administration is moving in that direction to take care of their corporate donors. So they are going to fuck over American farmers. And are those corporations going to do their best to provide clean, quality products, or are they going to cut every possible corner for margins? I don't know how we are both Maha and corporate farming, factory farming. They will make your food worse and less nutritious, and they will cut safety regulations to make sure that they can make as much money as they possibly can. And they'll do it on the backs of American farmers. A lot of these folks who have been farmers for generations, who have had their ancestors pass their land down and their industry down for generations. There is nothing that this president has done for the middle class. And I will argue that. I would like, please, for somebody in the chat to tell me anything the president has done for the middle class outside of no tax on tips and no tax on overtime. What has he done for the middle class outside of that? How does you said the Futures Act? I remember which one that is. Fostering Undergraduate Talent by Unlocking Resources for Education Act. That was in 2019. Oh, that was the Futures Act. We're talking about this administration, I said. That was a previous administration, but I appreciate that you had to go back to 2019 there. I'll read through the comments here. Increased unemployment. Look, I know that no tax on tips and no tax on overtime is largely bullshit, but I just knew that those would be their answers. So I want to see if they have anything there. Does the stock market count? It does not. Every president has the highest stock market in history, so we're not going to count that because then every president does that. So. Okay, well, if I didn't specify, I meant this administration. So now we specified. So fair enough. This is tough. There we go. Insult me. This dude's whack. Yeah. No answer. Thank you. Helping the African American community with mass deportation. How is the African American community being helped with mass deportation? Unemployment is going up in the black community. So what is mass deportation doing for them? Giving us an existential crisis. That's pretty good. How do you like affordable gas? I just paid $1.84 a gallon. The president doesn't control gas prices. So just because something happened while he's president doesn't mean that he did that. If you understood at all who controls gas prices, you would know it's not the president. You can buy stocks. Could you not buy stocks before? Boy, this is tough. Added gold all over the oval. Yeah, that's good. Ban big corps from buying homes. He didn't do that. That would have to be legislation. It's just a thing that he said that he knows is popular and that you guys will believe. But that's not big corporations can still buy homes. Boy, this is tough. Holy shit, you guys are worse than I thought. Holy shit. I don't have to pay $5 a gallon for gas. Billions of stolen money has been stopped. No, it hasn't. Where did they stop billions of dollars in stolen money? Boy, you guys suck. Holy shit. There it is. Another left-wing loony out here asking for examples. What a psycho. Who asks for examples? This is pretty tough for you. One big beautiful bill signed in 2025 with tax cuts for middle-class earners, $30,000 to $80,000. What were those tax cuts? What are they? Well, he stopped the woke bullshit. Yeah, no, he didn't. Everything, all of our woke beliefs still exist. He hasn't done anything. He didn't get them out of schools. He can't get them out of schools. Like, what you teach in school is based on local government. The president doesn't set that agenda. So, Jesus, what the fuck are you guys so happy about then? You can't name one thing? Not bullshit. Close the border. There you go. How did closing the border help middle-class people, though? Lowering gas prices, we already did that. He didn't do that. Releasing oil company leasing did not drive down the cost. No, he didn't. You're just wrong about that. Boy, this is tough. I'm giving you my platform, folks. Now's your chance. That's why we consistently say that you're in a cult. When asked what you care about, it seems all you care about is pointing at us and saying bad. But when it comes to, like, are you getting what you voted for? Are you getting anything out of this? No, you're not. You're getting fucked. Yeah, but bots ran out. Deport the left. Who's going to pay your bills? If you got rid of blue states, the country would go insolvent overnight. We pay all your bills. I'm tired of you fucking welfare queens complaining about the money that we give you. Shut the fuck up and be grateful. Thank God for blue states for paying all the fucking bills in this country. Thank God for blue states for creating an economy that can sustain your dog shit red states. Thank God. You guys would be fucked. Like if we had like a civil war and we split blue states and red states, your country would be destroyed almost overnight. You would have no money to pay for anything. So you're welcome. Stop being welfare recipients and then bitching about it. Stop pretending that you pay for things. Also, like you're deporting immigrants. They're paying your bills. The only like group of people I'm aware of in this country that are actually a net drain are Republicans. Blue states, they're paying all the bills. Immigrants in this country put in far more money than they take out. The only people that seem to contribute less than they get are red states. You're all almost exclusively recipient states. You can't exist without blue states. And I've said this before, but like this is how like fascist dictators, conservative authoritarians work. They take really dumb, mediocre people and they tell them, you are not mediocre because of you. You're mediocre because of them. They're the bad guys. And you have to give us all this power. And if you give us all this power, we'll get rid of them. And then all of your problems will be solved. And what they do once you give them that power is they pay themselves billions of dollars. They sue the federal government for $10 billion. They collect $1.5 billion in foreign bribes. And then when they look at you and they go, don't worry about that. That's just fake news. Remember, you voted for us to save you from these people over here who are paying your fucking bills, namely immigrants without citizenship. So asylum seekers, refugees, and illegal immigrants. They're paying all of your fucking bills, and then they've convinced you that they're the problem. Let's look at this. If you don't know what I'm talking about, top 10 states that take more federal money than they give. Alaska, Kentucky, West Virginia, Mississippi, New Mexico, Louisiana, Arizona, South Carolina, Alabama, Indiana. Now let's see less. Top 10 that, so those are recipient states. How about donor states? New Jersey, California, Delaware, Massachusetts, the rare red state, Utah. Shout out Utah. Kansas, Washington, Illinois, Colorado, Iowa. Your bum-ass state is taking a bunch of federal money and complaining that it's the blue states that are fucking you over. They're paying all your bills. We would like some gratitude. Please. How's that a stretch? If you take in more federal money than you give, how are you not a drain? That's your argument against immigrants. That's the argument for why we needed to deport all these immigrants. And that's not even true. Immigrants actually bring in more money to the federal government than they take. This is what it's like on the outside looking at conservatives. Everything you fucking believe is a lie, and it's a lie told to you because you're mediocre and you don't have a good excuse for it. And the rich people in your states and the rich people in your party who want to keep all the money that they've got off the backs of labor say, hey, we don't want to tax you. These blue states, they want to tax the shit out of you. And you're like, oh, yeah, they do. We don't want to be like them. And so they're like, we're going to have low taxes. And you're like, great. And they're like, but bad news. Our schools are going to fucking suck. Our schools are going to be terrible. Our roads are going to be terrible. Our infrastructure is going to be terrible. And we're going to have to eventually, when we have to pay for things, because we can't raise taxes on the rich people as a percentage because they have so much money, we're going to raise property taxes. And so for rich people, that's not really going to be a big deal for them. They can handle that. That's less than taxing their income. But for you, that's going to be unaffordable. And when you can no longer afford to stay in your home because we raise your property taxes and now you owe the government money, your home is going to be foreclosed on and repossessed, and a rich person then is going to buy that home, and they will rent it back to you for more than your mortgage was. Congratulations, though, you have low income tax. Terrific. It is alarming at how easy it is for rich people to manipulate Republicans into doing things that are counter to their own good, I guess their own standing. It is crazy how easy it is for them to trick you. It's just like, yeah, dude, fucking taxation is theft. I thought it is. So then you're like, man, I paid 30% of my money to the government this year. Fucking taxation is theft. And then you're like, yeah, but would you be surprised to know that Elon paid 1%? And you're like, yeah, but that's all right because I love it. He's sticking it to the government. He's like me. We believe the same thing. I love that. I love when you see a patriot like Elon Musk not paying his fair share because taxation is theft. Well, what happens if you don't pay your taxes? You're going to jail. You're fucked. What happens if he doesn't pay his taxes? Nothing. A bunch of dumb fucking Republicans give him a hand job. Yeah, Elon. Come on me first. Do it right on my face. Right here. I love this. It is alarming at how stupid and backwards Republican voters are. Look at this. Look at the one big beautiful bill. They said we need to give tax cuts to these rich people. And you're like, they create all the jobs. They got to have a tax cut. And then the Republicans are like, now listen, what we're going to have to do in order to offset this money we're not bringing in is we're going to have to cut funding for poor people. We're going to have to cut SNAP and Medicare. We're going to have to cut funding for like rural hospitals, and we're going to have to cut funding for healthcare. And by the way, while we cut this funding, the amount of money you're making isn't going to outpace inflation. Inflation's going to outpace your wages. And on top of that, your healthcare costs are going to go up. So we're going to help you less. We're going to do nothing about the prices skyrocketing. But the good news is the rich people are going to have more money. And you're like, fuck yeah, dude. Fuck yeah. That's what I voted for. I voted for that. And guess what? We're going to get rid of all these immigrants. The reason you can't afford all this stuff is because of the immigrants. Oh, it is? Yeah, that does sound right. It does sound like it's the immigrants. Yeah, let's get rid of them. And now things are even less funded. So now, after we do mass deportation and we start looking at our receipts, we're going to go, we've kind of been relying on immigrants to pay our bills and keep us out of the red with our deficits, and now they're all gone, and now we're in debt. And so what do we do? And because you're a Republican and you have this ideology about taxes, you're going to go, well, we're struggling as a country. We can't afford anything. We better cut taxes. And then they'll just come back to you and they'll be like, those Democrats, look at you. You can't afford your groceries. We are going to cut your taxes. And you're like, cool. Yeah, I'm voting for that. And then you get a child tax credit. And then the rich people get another loophole where they can like buy a state. Like you can write off literally any money you spend from now on. And you're like, fuck yeah, dude, taxation is theft. And they just keep playing this game over and over and over again. And while just one more time before we get out of here, I want to show you this. It is irrefutable that what I'm saying is true. Statistically irrefutable that what I'm saying is true. And I'm going to show it to you, and you are going to leave and not believe what I'm saying, which is going to be alarming to some of you, and the rest of you will be used to this. But here we go. Is it this one? All right. The entire Republican strategy of cutting taxes and doing trickle-down economics started in the 80s, 1982, and 83, I think, actually. And what you can see here is this is the wealthiest Americans owning the share of wealth. This is the share of wealth. Now, it used to be relatively close together here. In the middle here, that's the bottom 90%. The top 1% used to be below the middle 90%. Imagine that, 90% of the country. Of course, 90% of the country collectively should own more than 1% of the country. And then the next 9%, certainly, like this should be, this bar, the purple bar, should be much higher than the other two bars. But what we saw as we cut taxes for rich people is that they buy everything. They own more stocks, they own more homes, they own more property, and their wealth skyrockets. And the bottom 90%, which is probably everybody here, I highly doubt there's anybody here in the top 10%. If you are, welcome. This is what has happened to you while you continuously vote to bend over and fuck yourselves in the ass. Right here is the Bush tax cuts. This is the Bush tax cuts, and then you have the Trump tax cuts. And the acceleration of the bottom 90% owning less and less happened with the two biggest tax cuts in the history of this country, the Bush tax cuts and the Trump tax cuts. And now you're here at the bottom looking up at everybody else and going, I think it was the immigrants. I think it was the Democrats. I think it was a woke ideology, and it was tax cuts for the rich. What they told you would happen, and what they still tell you will happen, is throughout all of this, they said, if we cut taxes for the rich, it will elevate everybody else. Because instead of them taking the money that they have and giving it to the government, instead, they will take that money and they will pay their employees. And the middle class, the 90%, they will rise. It will be and they talk about it all the time. Like they're talking. Scott Bessent yesterday is testifying, like we're doing this for the middle class. Wall Street's had their turn. Now it's time for the middle class. No, it's not. No, it's not. I implore you to wake the fuck up. I really don't think you're all this stupid. I really think if you would just ignore the political rhetoric and look at the data, you would realize that having tax cuts for rich people is the worst possible thing that you could do. Our country used to be fairly equitable. Your parents and your grandparents grew up in an era when taxes were very high on rich people, somewhere between like 70 and 90% once you hit a certain threshold. And that's when our country was at its most equitable. And those same parents and grandparents of yours also somehow got duped by Republicans. And they say, I miss the good old days when things were affordable before we had all these woke ideologies and these immigrants flooding across the border. They got duped too, and they passed it down to you. And somewhere along the line, a significant percentage of our country said, you know what I'm not going to do? Math. You know what I am going to do? I'm going to be politically ideological, and I will not change my opinions based on math or data ever. I will continue to scapegoat people who are marginalized, and I will blame them for all of our problems, while the richest among us sit back and laugh at how easy it was to dupe you dumb motherfuckers. So please, stop being dumb, broke motherfuckers. For the love of God, we have a country to save, and we need you guys to realize that it's the billionaire class that is paying for everything. They're paying for legislation. They're paying for their own tax cuts. They just got to give these legislators a little bit of money. And what your team is doing, what MAGA is doing right now, is they are dismantling the oversight and the agencies responsible for making sure that the richest among us don't get to write the legislation, that they don't get to buy politicians. We had some agencies, and the Trump administration is dismantling all those agencies and refusing to enforce these rules. And the rich have never been more powerful, they have never been more in control, and they do not give a fuck about a single one of you. So when the midterms are coming up, I implore you, let them fucking happen. And if you watch your team trying to cheat, when you see them doing things that have never been done, like taking voter rolls and threatening to use ICE, listen to what they say and then check the data. When they say that the people who are here illegally are voting in elections, fucking Google it. Find out how many people are here illegally voting in elections. And when you get the answer that it's almost nobody, don't be a dipshit and say, oh, Google is biased. Check another source and just see if you can even find one credible source that links to data that says that that is happening. And you won't find one. I'm just begging you guys to do some research for your own good, not for us, for your own good. Stop listening to anybody, including me. Don't believe a word I say. Don't believe a word that Trump says. Don't believe a word that Nancy Pelosi says. Do not believe a single solitary politician. Go do some fucking research. Stop being mediocre. It would be nice if we didn't turn out to be Russia, but I don't have a lot of faith in some of you. Amber said, I had surgery on January 16th. Husband is home caring for me. Blue State paying him $1,600 a week to take care of me. Thank you, Blue State. Yeah. And if you're in a red state, no care, or you just lose your job and lose your house. Tanya said, have a great weekend. Thank you. Pink, thanks for joining the Dollar Train. I got all these here. Good. All right. I may wind up doing some debates on TikTok tonight. It'll be on my backup account, which is RTP Talks, but it's TOKS. If you want to check that out, I may or may not do it. Admir's going live at 6:30. I got to check and see what my daughter's plans are, see if she wants to hang out. If she does, I'm going to hang out with her. And if not, I'll hang out with you guys. Other than that, just a reminder, we have a members-only event coming up this Monday. If you're not a paid subscriber on YouTube or Twitch, I recommend getting your paid subscription. If you have Amazon Prime, you can get a free Twitch subscription. That way, Jeff Bezos pays us. We're going to watch 2 more episodes of Hitler and the Nazis on Monday. And then we're going to start doing some other members-only events where we're going to watch congressional hearings. And you can only join those if you are a paid member. But having that paid membership also gives us some foresight into the future as we try. And the next step for us is to get an editor so that we can put out better clips, have the stream look a little bit better. And once we have a base on the subscribers, we can afford to do that, and we can kind of set a budget there. So if you're not a paid subscriber and you have the ability to be one, please consider it. If not, make sure if you're watching right now, subscribe for free on Twitch or YouTube. Turn on your notifications, and that goes a long way in helping us funnel into the algorithm. If you come across one of our videos and you have a minute, if you dropped a comment or a like or an emoji or whatever, that type of engagement also helps us grow, and that puts us in the For You page, or I guess not For You page, just in the algorithm. But thank you guys for those. A lot of new subscribers today. I appreciate it. Nick Fuentes is talking about not voting. I did not see that. MT Clark said, great week. Thank you. Appreciate that. I'll have to check out the Nick Fuentes thing. Other than that, guys, we have the healthcare hoodies still available in our merch shop, along with a bunch of other stuff. You can check that out. But mostly, be powerful and be educated and use your voice. If you have an opportunity this weekend to bring up an uncomfortable conversation about the direction our country is going, do it. Be brave, be bold, be loud. We have some midterms to take care of. And if we don't, we may just have a runaway train that could lead to a disaster. Take care of your mental health. Take care of each other. Good luck to the Seahawks and the Patriots fans this weekend. Good luck to Turning Point USA for your pedophile concert that you're having so that you don't have to listen to somebody speak in Spanish, because what's worse, listening to Spanish or a pedophile sing? MAGA would say, give us the pedophile. So enjoy your pedophile show with your pedophile administration and your pedophile protecting legislators. Go whoever you want to win. I'll see you guys Monday morning, bright and early, 8:30 a.m. to noon Pacific Standard Time, right here, wherever you're watching. And we'll be back on TikTok Monday as well, I think. Outside of that, love you guys. Stay cute and cool, and have a great summer.